outside the stadium right there at the Pants Store. Anywhere in America, pantsstore.com, pantsstore.com, or any of the 6 great locations, including in Auburn and Tuscaloosa on game day, Crestline, Hoover, Huntsville, and in Leeds, pantsstore.com. You know, Michigan, I think this for we got, Charlie and some other great Michigan fans who watch us. Sadly for Michigan, could be their best team ever. Could be their best team ever.
Yeah, and
they play nobody.
I just don't watch them. Like, Indiana scored first in that game Saturday, and at one point, Indiana had like 100-some-odd yards, and Michigan had negative yardage. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I flip on the Fox Big Noon Kickoff, and then Michigan just methodically strangles them out. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I don't watch Michigan right now. I mean, it's just hard to watch them. They're just killing everybody. I know they're good.
But if you've got one of your best teams ever, you'd like to have some really big games to enjoy them, right?
Yeah. And look, I mean, it's still Michigan State this weekend. We've seen crazy things happen. I don't foresee anything crazy happen in the East Lansing based on where Michigan State is right now. But they're going to get that opportunity in the month of November when you go to Penn State, and then you've got to host Ohio State in the season. And then the next week, if they win those games, they're going to be playing in Indianapolis against maybe an 11-1 Iowa team, which doesn't excite a lot of people. But at that point, it would still be 3 top 15 wins, 2 top 10 wins.
And then the playoffs.
And then the playoffs.
Yeah.
And, the thing I worry about Michigan with the playoffs is, I guess the good news is you will be tested at the back half of the season. But I do think this is the best Michigan team I've ever seen.
I do think Michigan's end of their schedule is interesting, to Lance's point, because even that Maryland game is a classic trap game on the road at Maryland between a home game or a road game at Penn State and a home game against Ohio State. I mean, Talia is good enough, like if he has his A game, Lance, to move the football on them.
I would love to see his numbers versus non-ranked and ranked.
I can give you that.
Who? Talia?
Yeah. If you give me a second,
They're really good in one
and really bad in the other.
Some turnover issues in the other.
And that's been the problem. And I don't know if he presses too much, if the stage is too big. I don't know what it is.
Like this year, here's what I can give you ranked versus unranked. So he's played one ranked team this year.
Yeah. And it started out good.
Yeah, he was 21 of 41, 196, touchdown, 2 picks. Against unranked, 66% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns, 3 picks, 1,700 yards.
There you go. I mean, and go back the last couple of years.
Okay.
I mean, I think against Iowa 2 years ago, when Iowa was really good.
Yeah.
I think he turned it over 5 times.
Yeah, last year, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks against ranked, 15 touchdowns, 6 picks against unranked. The year before that, 7 touchdowns, 9 picks against ranked, 19 touchdowns, 2 picks against unranked. What Lance has just taught me today.
Yeah.
Talia Tungavaloa runs up a lot of numbers against the bad teams they play. That's what you have just taught me there.
That happens a lot.
Thank you for the lesson, Lance.
Michigan and to some degree Georgia in this run of 2, maybe 3 national championships. You almost wish the schedule was a tad bit tougher to get a few more bigger games. We'll see what the end of the schedule for both those teams look like this year. Ranked number 1 and 2 in the latest AP poll, Georgia and Michigan. Georgia off this week. Then the cocktail party with Florida, Missouri down the road, Tennessee down the road, SEC championship down the road. November 11th is when it gets good for Michigan and the rest of the way. One more college football note to tell you about right after LT tells you about our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa.
Woodhouse Day Spa, an incredible spot to go, just the gift of relaxation. Remember, the holidays are right around the corner. What is easier than a gift card? Really don't have to put a lot of thought into it, but the wife or girlfriend's going to absolutely love it. Woodhouse Day Spa is conveniently located up at the Summit Shopping Centers. And for the wife or girlfriend, they've got over a menu of 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Voted America's best day spa since 2009. You can order that special person gift online 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or just stop by, see Casey and Stewart, located right there at the Summit Shopping Center, and tell them the next round sent you.
All right. One more sort of unique, weird fact. Stuart Mandel in his mailbag gets asked a question about Dan Lanning's coaching style, and I think it was a guy named Richard from Birmingham who wrote into Stuart's mailbag at The Athletic, and who's a Georgia fan. He said, I watched Kirby Smart early on learn how to be a head coach. Isn't that what Dan Lanning is doing now at Oregon? Stuart gives me this amazing stat. You ready?
All right, fire away.
Last 3 losses for Dan Lanning as a head coach.
All right.
He is 0 for 9 on 4th down calls.
Mm-hmm. So when people told me I've jumped to conclusions on Dan Lanning based on one game and I'm being unfair to him, and I tried to tell him, no, this is a trend for him. Was I correct that perhaps this is a trend for him?
I think it's one bad call. Last year, there were multiple bad calls.
Yeah.
I think there was only one bad call this weekend. I was watching, so Monday Night Football was on, and one of my TVs was replaying Oregon and Washington. And I watched that final fourth down where they went for it. I would have gone for it, too. I wouldn't have punted.
But I wouldn't have punted either. I'd have gone for that.
The other
Game is over if you convert that.
But I think
Other
the whole
two, I
point
take
is,
the points.
I think the whole point is if you take the points before the half, you don't even make those other two decisions.
Well, that's the point, yeah.
Just one field goal. You may not have to go for it the other two
I don't
times.
think you do.
Yeah.
I think if you take the points right before the half, they were free points right there for you.
Yeah, you got to take those.
And you get the ball coming out. That's the other thing. And I think it was Klatt who said, like, the whole thing about going for it on fourth down is the reward is if you don't make it, the other team is pinned down and you get good field position back if you play some defense. And that was out the window. And he's right. You were getting the ball coming out of the half. So you could take the points and get the ball. You were getting the best of both worlds.
You know
right
what
there.
the narrative is? If they get that 4th and 3 and they close out the game, Dan Lanning's got balls.
Yeah, and then
Did it on the road, shut it out. This guy is going to be a superstar head coach.
And we never hear that stat right there. We never hear that he's
Hey,
over
I
his
did
left
see
side.
this, and I pulled this for you guys. I thought this was interesting.
I'm still on Dan Lanning, by the way. I like him.
No, I do too. I like Kalen DeBoer better, not just because he won the game. In 2004, the FBS head coaches went for it on fourth down rather than kick, field goal or punt, 17.7% of the time. What do you think that number is now?
I think that is 40%. The analytics, I think, tell you get it about every other time. So I say it's all the way up to 40%.
That's a bit high. But it's significant. It went from 17.7 to 25%. So 1 out of 4 now, instead of kicking, coaches are going for it just based on analytics.
We'll talk football with Richard Cross coming up in our next segment. I heard Richard recently on Sirius XM, and I learned two things. One, his wife is a fashion guru in the square in Oxford, Mississippi.
I've been to her
Good,
store
good
before.
place to be a fashion guru.
That's right. I've been to her store. It's a great
A
store.
lot of paper there.
That's right. I think I helped Richard pay a mortgage once.
And secondly, I heard Richard was a practical jokester, plays practical jokes on people. It was a great interview as I was going to play
That
golf.
clothing his wife sells is no joke.
Redmont Vodka brings us this part of the show, LT, as we make it to the top of the hour. Richard Cross on the other side.
I'm about to walk into the green room and pop a case of Redmont Vodka right now because our friend TJ Miller is on his way up here in mere moments from what I hear. So looks like I'm going to get started early on what is today, Wednesday? Redmont Vodka, it's locally owned. It's gluten-free. It's 8 times distilled. Fantastic product. One of the great owners there is Charles Barkley. Pick up a bottle available in 22 states. Ask for it by name. It is Redmont Vodka.
The NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah and Ryan Brown. DJ Football Weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention the next round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Life Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the Live Daily Show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to The Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. NextRound.store. That's NextRound.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Joe Goodman at the AL.com writes, if Lane Kiffin loses to Auburn, he should be fired.
I mean, what a stupid... What?
Lane Kiffin retweets that story.
Of course Lane Kiffin does, yes.
That's our hot take moment of the day, brought to you by our friends at Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila, the best tequila in the world. Ask for it by name wherever you buy your tequila. It's aged in Balkan region, Eastern European barrels. It gives you a crystal clear result. I like to pour mine over ice, throw a twist of lime in there, and say... thank you very much. It's Maestro Dobel Diamante Tequila.
All right, Richard Cross with us now. Sports Talk Mississippi all over the entire Magnolia State. Also, you see him on ESPN every single Saturday doing games. Richard, who is on the short list there to replace Lane if he loses this game?
I read that column from Jeff Goodman this morning, and I was like, I'm sorry, not Jeff Goodman, Joseph Goodman. And the headline obviously was designed to grab people's attention. And then when I read it, it really was more about how bad Auburn's offense is. I think that was the overriding point that he had. But that was a smoking hot take right out of the gates on a Wednesday morning.
They did a crappy job for Joseph then, because I didn't read the story. I just read the headline and saw the retweet from Lane Kiffin. I said, what more do I need to know?
That's our show, right?
I didn't read the story.
Hey, Richard, coming off the bye last year, and look, there was a lot of things going on. It seemed like that Lane Kiffin was going to take this Auburn job, and the team goes 0-4 after the bye. The schedule, though, last year, much different than coming off this bye where they start off with Auburn. Looks like they're only going to face one ranked team down the schedule. Can you get and I'm still trying to figure out Ole Miss. I don't know how good they are. Where are you on Ole Miss right now?
I think they're good, and I think they're really good when they're completely healthy. And that's been kind of a roller coaster. By the way, slamming vodka at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning?
It's not my choice.
Redmont Vodka.
Well, we've got a little deal when we get celebrities that come through here. If we get an opportunity to sit down and do these one-on-one interviews with the Redmont Vodka, we got to take it when we can get it. And we've been trying to get TJ in studio for a while. And so if he comes in at 10:30 in the morning, screwdrivers, I guess. We'll see.
There you go. I guess what I was saying was when healthy, I think this Ole Miss team is really good. Jackson Dart is an experienced quarterback. He's playing at a really high level. He's making good decisions so far this season. When Trey Harris, the wide receiver, is on the field, he's a difference maker. You saw that in the first couple of games, and then he missed a couple of games with injury. Came back against Alabama, didn't play a lot, wasn't 100% in that game. After that, comes back and plays really well. There appears to be a different mindset. So that game against Alabama a year ago, was later, right? It was into November, and I don't think it's any secret that Lane Kiffin puts a ton into the Alabama game, whether that's just emotional capital. I honestly think it is kind of a strange, over-the-top sign of respect for Nick Saban. And it was like that took all the air out of the balloon a year ago. And then you had the stuff with Auburn that comes up, and whatever level of distraction that was. It was a complete tailspin and a disaster at the end of the season a year ago. Lance, I don't know when we know, though. Like, ultimately, you say, I don't know about Ole Miss. When is that? I mean, if they beat a bad Auburn team this weekend on the road, do we know more about them then? Is it if they beat Vanderbilt next week, or is it November 4th when Texas A&M rolls into Oxford and they win that game? Obviously, the one that everybody is kind of looking down the line to is Georgia. But Ole Miss has got to really be locked in over these next 3 games to get to that point and make that game in Athens on November 11th really matter.
Richard Cross is with us, Sports Talk Mississippi, but you see him on ESPN on Saturdays as well, at Richard Cross STM on Twitter. What can you put a finger on why, and I know some of it is injury, and is it only injury, that Quinshon Judkins isn't what he was last year for a coach that loves running the football?
Yeah, so I think at the beginning of the year, there was some injury stuff going on. He was okay in the opener, not anything like what we saw a year ago. He was not good against Tulane in week 2. I thought the Alabama game was the first time where he kind of looked like he did a year ago. Even if the numbers weren't off the charts, there were some bursts. They've done some things differently with the offensive line over the last couple of weeks. I'm really not a good enough X's and O's guy to be able to whiteboard what's different, but I will tell you that there have been more holes and the running game has been better over the last couple of weeks. The numbers are not where they were a year ago. There was that 1-2 punch in the backfield with Judkins and Zach Evans, who probably doesn't get enough credit. For all of the drama of his career and his recruiting and ultimately getting to Ole Miss, when he was healthy a year ago, he was a really big part. I think he ended up with 800 yards on the ground. And so the combination of Judkins and Zach Evans was really good. Ulysses Bentley's kind of coming into that role as a secondary punch. We saw that in a big way against Arkansas before the open date. So I think that matters. I don't know. I mean, is it handling success from a season ago? Is it the fact that he put on a little weight and is a little bit thicker so that theoretically he can be more durable, but sometimes that ends up backfiring on guys? I don't know if there's an answer to that. I will say that he looks more like the back from a year ago over the last couple of games that Ole Miss played than he did in the first 3 or 4 this year.
Richard Cross is with us, ESPN's Richard Cross, who covers all of college football. If I asked you more surprising in your book right now, that Mississippi State's 0-3 in the SEC or Arkansas is 0-4 in the SEC, which surprises you most?
Probably that Arkansas is 0-4, but if you had told me that Rocket Sanders was going to be a shell of himself, and we were talking about Quinshon Judkins a second ago,
right?
If you had told me that Rocket Sanders was going to be nothing like he was a year ago, maybe I would have said that. I mean, to me, both of them are a little surprising, but not blow you away surprising. There are a lot of people around the Mississippi State team who said, yeah, there's a lot of change, but there's so much coming back. There's so much experience. This team's going to be okay. And we lose the sight of the fact that, okay, Mike Leach gone, Zach Arnett, first-time head coach, new defensive coordinator, even though he was on the staff, new offensive coordinator with a complete system change, and they lose a first-rounder at cornerback on the defensive side. To me, the thing that's most surprising about Mississippi State is how bad they have been on the defensive side. It's like if you were really paying attention, you might have said there are going to be some transition issues with the offense when you're going from air raid to something that's more traditional. I don't even know how you describe what the identity of their offense is this year. But for Arkansas, with so much experience with KJ Jefferson, Rocket Sanders, to me, that's probably the most surprising. The only thing that might tip it in favor, though, of Mississippi State is the schedule that Arkansas is playing. I mean, that was a murder. They go 5 weeks without playing a home game. This game against Mississippi State this weekend will be their first game in Fayetteville since that game they lost to BYU at the end of September. It's crazy from a scheduling standpoint. And they got to figure out that Arlington game against Texas A&M.
When we roll into week 0, we always do our 3 guarantees. And one of my guarantees was Texas San Antonio is going to have a special year. I was a little hesitant because Zachariah Franklin transfers out to Ole Miss. He was so good for Frank Lucas in that Roadrunner offense last year. He's got 2 grabs. Like, I know he was injured early, wasn't 100%, but what is going on with Franklin? Why has he not been mixed in that offense more?
That's a great question, Lance. I mean, because you had 2 transfers coming in, right? You had Trey Harris coming in from Louisiana Tech and Zachary Franklin coming in from UTSA. And the thought was, okay, these guys are going to slide in and they're going to be impact players. That's how you're going to replace Jonathan Mingo and Malik Heath from a season ago. That has not been the case. Trey Harris has been exceptional when he's been on the field. Franklin missed all of camp. There was some sort of procedure. Ole Miss protects injury information like it's the nuclear codes and, whatever else. I don't think he's gotten there from a health standpoint. If you watch him in pregame warmups, even before Arkansas 2 weeks ago, he's still limping around on the field. But the thing to watch this week is Jordan Watkins, who has been the most reliable receiver for Ole Miss by a long shot, and not just a safety valve for Jackson Dart, which I thought was kind of going to be what it was going into the year. Like when Jackson Dart got in trouble, he was going to be able to go to Jordan Watkins. He's turned into a big play guy, but he has a hand injury in the game against Arkansas. Supposedly it's broken, mixed signals on whether or not he's going to play this week or not. And to me, that may be a bigger deal because they've kind of figured out how to handle life without Franklin. They have not had to do that without Jordan Watkins.
Richard Cross with us for a few more moments on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, ESPN, Sports Talk Mississippi, at Richard Cross STM, if you would like to follow him on Twitter. We took down our Pete Golding thermometer when he left the state here in the studio, so I don't know what it reads right now. What's the approval rating for Pete Golding? How are Ole Miss fans with him right now?
Mostly good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some that are like, hey, you gave up too many points to LSU. Well, guess what? LSU's a really good offense. The thing with this defense, and really this Ole Miss team, this goes back to what Lance was asking earlier about, what do we believe about Ole Miss? Well, you've seen games where the offense was really, really good. And then you've seen a couple of games where the offense sputtered. You've seen a couple of games where the defense was really, really good. I mean, they give up 24 in Tuscaloosa. They hold Arkansas to 20 a couple of weeks ago. But then you've also seen a couple of games where the defense was pretty bad. I mean, they gave up a lot to Georgia Tech in that win, and Ole Miss came from behind in the fourth quarter. They gave up, as I said just a second ago, a ton to LSU. If we ever get to a game where the offense is healthy and kind of operates at peak efficiency and the defense plays the way they've shown at times they're capable of, I think you got to have you've got a chance to have something pretty special in that scenario.
I think, though, Richard, people around here like Pete Golding the person. People, had gotten any coach at Alabama is going to catch some criticism, any coordinator.
Yeah.
So I think, when he talked about the personal reasons for making the move, I think even if you wanted him gone from Alabama, you wanted him to find some personal peace. I don't know how well you know him, and I don't think Lane lets the media talk to assistants. Do you know if maybe he's found a little bit more personal peace, some more happiness there in Oxford?
Yeah, so I don't know Pete well. I know him a little bit away from the building. We got a lot of mutual friends. I don't want to go too far into that because I don't know that I think that's my business, but just from interaction that I've seen with his kids, with other kids and his family and his wife being close to her sister, I get the impression that they're in a good place and a happy place. And I certainly hope that's the case for them. Whatever was going on, and if that was indeed part of the rationale, I hope that they found exactly what they want. He's a brilliant tactician. And sometimes, and I wonder if maybe that's a little bit of the criticism. People are like, oh, there's no question he's great on the X's and O's. He's great on the whiteboard. Can that transition? Is it too complicated? I think it's transitioned pretty well because Ole Miss, regardless of what the numbers say, and I don't have like defensive stats year over year in front of me, Ole Miss is better defensively. They are more sound. They are in the right place to make plays. It's just a kind of deal of making those plays. And some of that is through recruiting. They've got to continue to get better from a personnel standpoint on that side of the ball.
I know you would never do this, but your long-range forecast in Boca, where you're calling UTSA FAU this weekend, it's 87 and sunny. You're going to pack accordingly? Do you take the golf clubs? You rent them when you go on the road? Do you have time to play golf?
It's hard to play golf. I got a little golf trip coming up with some buddies next week, so I'm going to hold off this weekend. I'll fly in early Friday morning. We'll meet with Tom Herman and their staff around lunchtime. Friday afternoon, I'll get to kick back a little bit. I think the hotel that we're staying in is in Pompano Beach, which is just south of Boca. It has a view of the water, so I may venture down to the beach for a little while. Honestly, it's like we've finally gotten to fall weather where we are, and it's okay. It's going to be in the mid 70s, low 70s over the course of the weekend. And now I'm going to go back to where it's hot.
Yeah,
so,
no.
But if you want me to complain about going to Boca this weekend, I can't do that in good conscience.
They can move the game to Gatlinburg if you want to go where it's cold.
Yeah. In that case, I hope the forecast for torrential rains moves up a couple of days.
Oh, yeah, thanks. That's awfully nice of you, Jim.
You're in the booth.
Hey, if I needed a what's it called, a mouse pad, an aux cord, and several small sheets of paper, do you have a drawer in that office that has all that stuff in it? I saw you cleaning off that desk before you came on.
It was such a wreck, and I was like, okay, this is video. I got to do something. So I just pulled out a box and like swept everything off.
He opened that drawer and went like this.
Swept it
right
in.
into the
That's
drawer
the way
and
to do
closed it. I got one of those in my house too. It's got everything in there.
Junk drawer. You know where to find it. The old junk drawer. We all got them. Richard, it's always.
And then you're so frustrated when you're looking for something and you go to that drawer. It's like, that thing should be in here. Now, where is it? Why can't I find it?
And then if it's cables, you pull one cable out and you pull them all out.
A spoon.
There's 17
there's two pairs of scissors.
In a knot.
Yes.
Sinus medication.
Richard, thank you very much for the time. Always a pleasure talking with you.
Enjoyed it, boys. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Take care. Richard Cross with us at Richard Cross STM. Sports Talk Mississippi, ESPN. As Dunaway told you, you'll see him down in Boca this weekend on one of the ESPN platforms. He was with us on the Johnston RV Center.com hotline.
LT's got 4 downs coming up in the next segment. One amazing Dabo Swinney comment right here.
It's got for it to be amazing. That's got to be good.
Cut 5, Rockstar. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Way to Wellness. You want to get that health in a good place, blood pressure, cholesterol. I had mine checked this week. Really thankful to Leslie and her board-certified team at Way to Wellness. Feels good to walk into the doctor and says, man, your blood pressure's in such a good place. What have you been doing? And I said, hey, Way to Wellness. Cholesterol, good place right now. Weight, good place right now. Hovering right around 184, right where I want to be. It is perfect. You can get the same plan or your own plan. There's no cookie cutter plan at Way to Wellness. Just go to their website, aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com. No contract, no sign-up fees. First consultation's free, so it doesn't cost you anything just to find out more about Way to Wellness. Again, the website, aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Dabo Swinney, the gut reaction on Dabo is not evolving. Not evolving.
Well, yeah, will not embrace transfer portal. Will not embrace NIL. Just wants to try to win it the way he's always won it. That is the narrative on him.
Dabo Swinney they've won 10 games every year since 2010.
Yeah.
At least 10 games every year since 2010. Dabo Swinney last night from Tiger Calls on the Clemson Tiger Radio Network.
Our quarterback's growing every week. I mean, we're getting healthy. I mean, it's certainly the turnover margin has been, a really – that's the only reason we're undefeated, because the kids have played their butts off. And, again, it is what it is. You don't change that. That's part of the game. But, they called a season for a reason. I mean, it's just we're at a point in our time, and I hate that, where – people, if you don't go undefeated, you're losers. You're terrible, and it's just such a terrible mindset. And honestly, maybe we need to lose a few games and lighten up the bandwagon. Sometimes the bandwagon can get a little too full, and that's the one good thing about going through a little bit of so-called adversity is you really find out, who's with you and who's not.
Wow, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Roy Bus to this. It should be all about winning championships. You get paid like a championship coach. Multiple losses, especially in the ACC, unacceptable.
No, but he's won 10 games every year since 2010. This is 2023.
Well, and look,
I don't know if he's going to get 10 this year.
This is the way a guy, and he may not. I don't know. I mean, like you think
they were lucky to survive Wake. You've still got to go to Miami. You've got Notre Dame. You've got North Carolina. You got to go to South Carolina, and then possibly a bowl game.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is
tough.
That's a hefty
tough.
schedule.
But even
man.
if he didn't win 10 this year, I mean, he's won 10 every year since
Well,
2010.
Yeah, but
Again.
it seems like he has, to me, and I'll let you get to your point, Brown, seems like, I don't want to say it's not a priority more. It might not be the biggest priority for Dabo anymore. He doesn't seem as in as he was, and I could be completely wrong on that.
Hungry is the
there we go.
But he's also a victim of his own success.
No doubt.
He's turned Clemson into a program that expects to do that. He's the guy that did it. Now, he had a lot of great players and other coaches, but he was the head coach that took Clemson from a middling program that used to look back at that 1980 national championship, probably wore out the video on the pregame video of that 1980 championship, and brought them into being a perennial contender in today's college football. He did that. Now, he's being paid reflective of him doing that. And that's, the criticism comes with that. And I'm not saying Dabo is saying this in a way, but one thing that frustrates me about coaches is a lot of times coaches will come in and they'll flip a program around. And they'll take a program from a mid-tier program to a championship program. And all along the way, the boosters say, here's that money, here's that money, here's that money. And they keep taking that money. And then they complain, well, now you expect me to do it every year. Well, we're paying you to do it every year. You could have stayed at $4 million. You chose to take the money. Like Jimbo Fisher cannot complain. Now, he's not done this, turn a program into a good program. He's kept them in the middle of the road. But he can't complain because he's taking the money every time it's offered. And when you take $9 million a year, you got to accept the criticism that comes when you lose.
You take $9 million worth of success and $9 million worth of problems.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it works. That's just the way it works.
17-12 over Wake Forest in their last outing. Bye week. And now they're playing this weekend, as you guys mentioned the schedule. If you're just wondering, last year Clemson 72nd in offense. Change quarterbacks, just bring in a high-powered offensive coordinator.
Here we go.
68th in offense.
Yeah.
Doesn't look any different to me.
Yeah, I talked to Luke and Bill about this on Ball. Like, if you popped in a tape and you had no clue what year you're watching, you would think, I'm back to the Brandon Streeter offense, or I'm back to the Jeff Scott offense, or I'm back to the Chad Morris offense.
Yeah, and I go back.
Doesn't look any different.
I go back. It's not the OC, probably not really the quarterback. It's the receivers, the offensive linemen, and the people you have playing around those guys a little bit. All right, when we come back, LT's Four Downs show being brought to you today by our friends right there at JohnstonRVCenter.com. JohnstonRVCenter.com. Put it all the way over on Ryan Brown there, Tyler.
What? Hey, Johnston RV Center, I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. They have just returned from the Fall River Expo. Now, I know you're not in the RV business. You're like, Brown, I don't know what the Fall River Expo is. The Fall River Expo is where people in the RV business go to look at all the new floor plans. And they say, all right, our people will like that. They'll like that. They'll like that. Ship those to us, boys. And that is what has happened for Johnston RV. So they're about to get brand new travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, but they got to make room for them. So they have launched the Call of Fall campaign. You can go see fall and see those leaves changing in an RV from Johnston RV Center, and you can do it with great savings. Fifth wheels discounted more than $50,000. Travel trailers starting at just $179 a month with approved credit right there at Johnston RV Center. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails. And don't forget about that 29-degree man-sized drafts. It's Twin Peaks at the Patton Creek Shopping Centers.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. The Next Round Golf Card is back and it's presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the deluxe golf card for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Want more of The Next Round? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app. I think it's that glass. I was yelling at Lance.
That glass is not soundproof. I just think he ignored you in that situation.
Wow,
there.
Jim.
I mean, don't take it personal.
I did take it personally, Jim.
How many times do I get ignored up here?
Where's Jim? Where is he in on this segment?
Rockstar and I have a running joke between Rockstar and me, counting the times that I'll send a text to the group text and get 0 replies.
So people are busy, man. People are busy.
I mean, Jim.
Okay, here it comes.
I'm not going to get baited in by his martyrdom. Nobody loves to be a martyr more than Jim.
It's funny though. Our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama want to remind you that catching anything early helps you, right? And that includes when it comes to your health. UCA, with over 35 urologists on hand, 16 locations around Alabama. They treat you for all your urological needs, from prostate health to kidney stones, and they'll take care of you as well. Visit urologycentersalabama.com, urologycentersalabama.com to schedule your appointment. Our friends at UCA, they're just wonderful folks. One other TV ratings note that I'll bring Brown in here with, Tyler. It is a 26 million viewer number, 26 million viewers for the Jets and Eagles in the late window on Sunday, the most watched NFL game now since the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So you had a lot at play there. First of all, no Taylor Swift, so thankfully that was not the storyline there. Two big media markets, Jets and what?
I wonder if there was just because Travis Kelce had announced he was going to the game to see his brother who was playing in the game. I wonder if there was just a little Taylor Swift bump in there for the ratings.
I don't know. But I mean, I would think, first of all, you had a close game with an undefeated losing, right? So that is a good formula for a TV number. And you had two massive media markets, and it was the national game. I mean, there was a lot that was playing in favor of that game, pulling that kind of number. So it's the biggest since last year's Super Bowl, huh?
Yep. Over 26 million.
And again, because I've had a lot of people of a couple things, and people are asking where Lance is. TJ Miller just arrived, so Lance is doing the last call that we'll put out on our platforms here. So a little schedule change. TJ running ahead of schedule, so Lance going to be out for just a bit here. I've been asked, and we are going down to the SEC Media Days, to Basketball Media Day today, and I'll try to get a definitive answer. It has not really occurred to me, but I've had enough people ask me that apparently it should have occurred to me. When are they going to announce dates for next year's SEC football schedule? And a lot of people are like, they normally have already done it by now, but they have yet to do it.
To your point, they've got the teams that they're
That's
playing.
right. We know who you're playing.
But we don't have the order and the hard dates.
That's right. No order, no hard dates. You don't know, is the Iron Bowl still the last day of the year? The last game of the season, I'm pretty sure it will be. You know, things like that. I don't know when Alabama plays Oklahoma, when Auburn plays, when Texas and Texas A&M play,
And my question to you there, Brown, would be, what is the holdup? Because now it's not like you're having to divide up with other media partners. It's
That's
all
right.
ABC, ESPN.
Yeah.
So I would assume it's ABC and ESPN who's still trying to, if they haven't yet, but trying to lay this thing out to where they get maximum games, maximum weekends, and lay this thing out. And some of that may be nuances of trying to move some games around.
Could be. I don't. So I'm saying all that to say I don't know, and we'll be down at the SEC Media Days. All their people will be there. So, if I get a chance to catch up with Greg Sankey or someone in the SEC office, I'll ask if we could expect it anytime soon, because I had not even thought twice about it, but I've had so many people, and it's come up in the chat room several times.
Let me give you an example.
Okay, please.
Let me give you an example. Texas A&M used to be a Thanksgiving night game.
That's right.
Now Mississippi State Ole Miss is a Thanksgiving night game.
Correct, yep.
Does ESPN want to have two Thanksgiving nights? Do they want to bump one of those off? They want to put one of them on Friday night? All that will involve those schools.
Right.
And you want them to sign off on it. I
and
guess technically ABC, ESPN can mandate where you play, but you sort of want everyone to sign off on this.
Well, and on top of that, the SEC has tried to make Texas A&M LSU that rivalry Saturday rivalry.
That's
because
right.
LSU, their bigger rival is Alabama, and you play that in early November.
So if I go to Disney, I'm reading the chat room short, but Disney's still trying to sell ABC, ESPN.
Well,
they are.
That is true, but I don't think that this affects that.
But ABC, ESPN is still going to be with the SEC contractually. So when you talk to LSU, now you got to find somebody for them to play at the end of the year, right? So who does LSU want to play at the end of the year? They want the Arkansas game there. It can't be Ole Miss because Ole Miss, Mississippi State play that. So you're trying to find out who's going to be that natural rival at the end of the year. Do you want to try to create something between LSU, Oklahoma that weekend? What's Oklahoma going to do with Oklahoma State?
I know.
So all this is still being debated out.
Because Oklahoma's big rival, to your point, now I'm assuming Bedlam doesn't continue when I say this, and I think that's probably a safe assumption when you say.
Yep.
Their biggest rival is Texas. And they would, that was their biggest rival, whether Bedlam continues or not. My point with Bedlam was going to be now they get to rivalry Saturday, don't have a natural game there. So LSU, Oklahoma, to your point, could you make that a rivalry Saturday game?
Or is that so big that if you're ABC, ESPN, you'd like that to be somewhere else in the calendar, not jammed on rivalry weekend?
And furthermore, how many natural protected games are you going to have? You want to keep Alabama, LSU, I would imagine. So is it 2 and it's LSU Oklahoma every year, or do you want to keep LSU Florida, which is a big rivalry, LSU Ole Miss, which actually has a name to their game, the Magnolia Bowl? So all those things are, I'm sure, being discussed. I brought that up to say, though, that the one thing we have learned, and the other question I get asked is the SEC going to keep a Primo game at 2:30, or are they going to move the Primo games to nights? The one thing we've learned is TV ratings, it does not matter.
It does not.
And you just showed that right there, because the game you just talked about was a 3:25 afternoon kick.
NFL game. But in college, we've
Same
had
thing.
the biggest game at 11 a.m. We've had a big game at 2:30. We've had a big game at 6:30.
Yeah,
so
it does not matter.
The weekend has been won in all 3 time slots.
Yep. You will find the good games, is what you have showed TV people. Like, we could put the good games, the big name teams, we could put them anywhere. You will find them and watch them. Yeah.
Yep.
So I that is a long way of me saying I really do not know. I do not know, but we are about to, in a few hours, head down to the SEC Basketball Media Day, and all the SEC folks will be there. I'll try to get you an answer.
All right. Let's hear more about MyBookie.ag. Rockstar Q Up Cut 7. We talked tempers early in the show. Somebody showed theirs this past Saturday. MyBookie.ag will calm the nerves, though, when it comes to making a little wager with our friends there at MyBookie.ag.
You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on. Code next round. You make that sign-on deposit, your initial deposit there at MyBookie.ag. They turn around and match it 110%. That is absolutely free money. 110% from MyBookie.ag. That is when you use code next round, MyBookie.ag, code next round. Now, you can take that money, you can play it right away, and if you win, it is yours and yours forever. You don't have to win like 4 or 5 times with it. Win once, it's yours forever. That's when you go to MyBookie.ag. A lot of fun games there, like the money bag, too, where you could spin the wheel for first player to score a touchdown in a game. You might get some random off-the-board guy with massive odds in your favor. You might get the favorites. You don't know. It's just kind of fun. Right there, you can do it at MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag and get that sign-on bonus of 110%. Free money. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. MyBookie.ag. Code next round.
While we're talking TV windows, Deion Sanders this week has complained about the late windows that he gets at Colorado and that the Pac-12 is getting. And he thinks that was, part of the reason for the Pac-12 demise. Some people will tell you that the Pac-12 all of a sudden not wanting to play those late windows as much and put their good games there made them less attractive to the television partners because they liked having good games in that late window because it made people watch TV longer. So the Pac-12 became less attractive to them when they, A, stopped being good at football, and B, they were not willing to play their really good games at 9:30 on the East Coast and Central Time zones.
Yeah, and there again, though, that Colorado State game was the highest-rated game of the weekend, so that debunks that.
At 9:30, right.
At 9:30
good games,
at night,
you're going to find it.
That's right.
So Deion's complaining about the late windows. His television partner is going to be ESPN ABC with the Big 12 when they move to the Big 12. ESPN will not have USC, UCLA, Oregon, or Washington because they're going to the Big 10 with Fox. So what do you think ESPN will put at 9:30, even if Deion's in the Big 12?
A lot of BYU and Colorado home games.
Yeah, BYU, Utah.
Yeah, Utah too.
Colorado, Arizona State, Arizona.
Yep.
Good chance.
All the Pac-12 teams, basically.
Good chance those Pac-12 people, you can put them in the Big 12. You didn't change your time zone, Deion. You're still going to play late-night ESPN games.
We're now going to have Big 12 after dark, is what you're telling me. We've traded Pac-12 after dark for Big 12 after dark.
That's right. I mean, but those, when they play home games, it'll only be natural by ESPN ABC to say, dude, we got the SEC.
Yeah.
We're gonna kick a lot of SEC at 11, 2:30, and 6:30. And when it gets time for these Big 12 teams to play at home, that's going to be a sweet little 9:30 game on ESPN and ESPN2. That's just natural programming.
Yeah, but it's wild, like West Virginia at BYU. I mean, that is a late East Coast kick for a West Virginia Big 12 team, that is on the road at BYU. So it is going to be a little bit weird. But again, now, Jim, I approach this. Deion can have all the complaints he wants. I approach it from what my TVs have. I want those games late. That's more late programming for me.
I have been disappointed, in fact,
me too,
with our late schedule this year.
Yeah, I was about to look at it so after the primetime games this week, you'll have the end of Nevada at San Diego State on FS2. That's not real appealing.
Nope.
UCLA at Stanford on ESPN. I mean,
could be interesting.
But Stanford's so bad. And then Arizona State at Washington on FS1.
That only gets interesting if Arizona State starts to pull the upset.
It's probably going to be a blowout.
Yep.
And that's all we got.
That's the late window.
Now, imagine if I mixed in BYU playing Utah or BYU playing Cincinnati or Colorado or something
Utah
like
and Deion's Colorado
team.
Deion's must-see TV, man.
I know. Now we got something.
Yeah, they're going to find a good slot for Deion. It could be prime time. It could be 11. But if they got Deion at home at 9:30, he's already shown he can deliver a number one rating. That'll be a 9:30. He's going to better get used to the nighttime kicks in the
Western
time
zone.
There's no doubt. Yeah. All right, Shane Beamer's the head coach at South Carolina. He is 2-4 this year. He blew a fourth quarter lead of 10 points last week to Florida. And then Shane Beamer did something we've all done before, right, Coach?
Did I see a limp in here? Do we need an injury update on you?
Yeah, I might as well say it now because y'all are going to ask on Saturday after the game. I broke my foot on Saturday, so I'd rather just get it out there and say it and not have y'all speculating. And then after the game on Saturday in Missouri, you ask. I called Coach Tanner, told him, make sure he was okay with it, and he died laughing when I told him. So obviously there's not a lot of empathy from him. It was after the game, and certainly that was a gut-wrenching emotional loss, and I was frustrated and kicked something that I shouldn't have kicked, and thought I was okay, but journaling of the game wore off, and before anybody starts the narrative like the head football coach is frustrated and lost his poise and all that, no, I care. And I care about these kids, and I was really upset on Saturday night because I didn't do enough to help them get over the hump and win the football game. So don't think I have to have surgery, but there is a broken bone in my foot. It hurts like you know what, but, you know, I've got to show toughness and fight through it. Been one of those years.
I was playing 7th and 8th grade basketball, Sachs High School. 8th grade was in high school at Sachs. And we're playing Auburn, and we got the game won. Guy goes to the line to shoot free throws with, like, under 2 seconds on the clock, like 1.5 or whatever. Hits the back of the rim, bounces all the way out. He catches it falling down Wes Brooks or Robbie Brooks. Can't remember which Brooks kid. Throws it up, drains it for the game winner. Our coach turns around, kicks a folding chair, bam, slams up against, the bleachers are pushed in. Bam, slams up against the bleachers. He was so pissed. We go in the locker room and, guys, tough loss. Tell your mom and dads, I didn't mean to kick that chair. I just swung around and my leg hit it. I don't think your mom and dad's going to buy that. The thing flew through the air and hit the bleachers. It's hard to blame a coach for getting that pissed.
They blew a 10-point lead against a team that is now 5-2 and looks different in Florida. But South Carolina is 2-4. Shane Beamer 17-15 as a head coach and 2-4 this year at South Carolina. I would be frustrated too if I was him because Spencer Rattler's playing really good football, I think.
Oh, no, he's played a good enough football for you to be near undefeated. Now,
Yep.
Again, you were right in the Georgia game. So normally you say, they're not going to beat Georgia. Well,
at halftime, you look pretty good.
Yeah, they were right in that game. They were up, 14-3. Spencer Rattler has played winning football for you, and you just have not gotten it done. On the season, 73% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns, 4 picks. He's thrown for almost 1,800 yards. That is winning football for them. And they don't have a whole lot to show for that.
3 of their losses, obviously Georgia is number 1, North Carolina is number 10. Both are unbeaten. They've lost to Florida, who have been in and out of the top 25. Who is their other loss to? South Carolina, their other loss? Was it Missouri?
To Tennessee, Tennessee.
No, they played Missouri this weekend.
Yeah.
Was that Tennessee?
At Tennessee. Those are good teams they've lost.
So all
to.
4 of them are basically top 27 teams.
Yeah, Tennessee, Georgia, and North Carolina are all in the top 20, and 2 of those are on the road and 1 was neutral site. So
it's a pretty good 2-4 South Carolina team.
This is the first loss where I'm like, that one's on it. I can't explain that one away for you. I can't explain that one. Yeah, the Florida loss. Yeah. That's the one. You blew a 10-point lead. You had that game in the bag.
Yeah,
he's played great football.
Play another ranked team this weekend in Missouri.
It's life in the SEC, right?
Yeah,
it never stops.
Only going to get worse. Our friends at Moore's Marinade makes everything better. Started right there in the Jasper area, right? Moore's Marinade.
I love me some Moore's Marinade. In fact, I don't want to build this up because I don't want you to say, it's such an easy recipe. I just found a little recipe that involves Moore's for steaks. I'm planning on doing it Friday. I'll maybe do a little video and some photos for you. Let you see how it turns out. One thing I do not like in marinade is it to be super salty and have all that sodium in it. And that's why I do like Moore's, because it's got less sodium than the leading lower sodium marinade, but I don't lose any flavor. I've still got that great hickory flavor. You could put it on anything. I'm going to use it on a little steak this weekend, but you do it on burgers, chicken, pork, even veggies. And don't forget their wing sauces. I like the buffalo wing sauce. I love the honey barbecue wing sauce. Perfectly tangy flavor. It keeps you licking your fingers even after the wings are gone. Dip it, drizzle it, slather Moore's buffalo wing sauce on everything you eat, from chicken fingers to burgers to sandwiches to pizza, pasta, tacos, fries, and more. See why grill masters everywhere prefer Moore's marinades and wing sauces. You can do that online. You can get recipe ideas, get grilling inspiration. Moore'sMarinades.com. That is Moore'sMarinades.com. Elijah McAllister talks Auburn Tigers next on the next round.
All the SEC with our all-SEC analyst, Roman Harper. Thursdays at 9:25.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, Brombergs.com.
The extra hours of sunshine are back on the clock, and that means it's time for golf at Timberline, a short drive from Birmingham or Montgomery. Go to TimberlineGC.com, TimberlineGC.com to book your tee times, schedule a lesson, or just drop by and use the TrackMan technology on the driving range. The course is always fun, in great shape, and you can even become a member. Get all the details at TimberlineGC.com. It's time to get your golf on with our friends at Timberline.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Going to a big football game? Walking around all day? Then you'll want comfortable shoes. This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store. Score a touchdown with a new pair of ultra-comfortable running or walking shoes. Come to the New Balance Birmingham store. I'm telling you, we'll make sure you have a perfect fit and we'll treat you like the starting QB. Our job is to make sure your feet are happy. Visit the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A. Your feet will thank you.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com. Auburn football back under the lights, Jordan-Hare Stadium this week. Let's talk a little Tiger football, brought to you by our friends at Craneworks.
Yeah, Elijah McAllister is with us. The big guy says check out the big dog, Craneworks and Rentalworks. And Elijah joins us each week on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. How are you, my friend? Everything going well?
Yes, sir. Everything good. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Thanks a lot. Look, I know that game did not go the way you wanted it to down at Tiger Stadium, but if we could put that aside for 1 second, it was your last stadium to check off your SEC tour. You have now played in all 14 stadiums. You got the night game treatment at Tiger Stadium, and people rave about it. What was that like for you as a player?
It was amazing atmosphere, just being able to, be there, and two, very good programs going at it under the lights. And they had a lot of fans, and people were there supporting them. And it was just amazing. Like, people always talk about that's one of the stadiums that they enjoy going to and playing in, and also just being there to experience it. So I enjoyed it, particularly because of my last stadium to check off my list. So nice. It would have been better, if we had played at a higher level. But as far as the experience, the stadium was good.
I know you're a defensive guy, so this doesn't come into play as much for you as it does, say, an offensive guy. I have always made the argument. I know that's a tough place to play, but I also think Bryant-Denny's a tough place to play, and Jordan-Hare is a tough place to play, and Sanford Stadium in Athens. Like, once it gets so loud, it can only be so loud. As a guy that has played in that environment, am I a complete idiot for saying something like that?
No, it's the truth, honestly. And I experienced it, and I talked to some more offensive guys. Like, at the end of the day, it just becomes like white noise.
Yeah.
Like, you played in so many different stadiums that are all get pretty loud, the big ones. So it's all, you kind of get a feel for like how to communicate with each other while it's loud. And like you said, it can only get so loud. At the end of the day, it's just noise. Like, they're screaming. They're supposed to be screaming, but it only gets so loud,
Coach seemed to be a little upset about effort, which is something you don't really usually hear a coach really complain about. What did you think of the effort? And is there an effort question sometimes to get 60 minutes out of everybody on the roster?
I thought, obviously Coach wasn't happy about the effort, and I think, he felt as if we didn't play, to the effort that we showed the past, X amount of games we played previous to this, and I agree. I don't know. It's usually tough to kind of get everybody on the same page and every single guy in the locker room with the same heart and same passion and same energy that certain guys have. To do that down and down out regardless of the score. And I think, it was a bit disheartening how the game, started and then how it kind of, ran away from us a bit in the third quarter. And I think sometimes you have to have maturity level to continue the effort throughout the course of the game. in spite of scoring. I didn't think, we did a great job of that.
So that being said, sounds like a perfect time to come back and play at home, right?
100%. You guys know we love playing in front of our fans. We usually, tend to play at our highest level at our own stadium because, we love playing in front of the best fans in the country. So it feels like the perfect, match to bounce back and play at our stadium against another good opponent, another good offense that we can prove ourselves against.
Elijah McAllister is with us, the Auburn team captain. Joins us each week courtesy of Craneworks and Rentalworks. The big guy says look for the big dog, Craneworks and Rentalworks. Do you find it more difficult to flush a big win or a big loss out of your mind?
Probably a big win, honestly. Yeah. We're human, so we like to be celebrated, and we like to be, pat on the back a little bit. So anytime it's a big win, it feels good. You try to, as humans, we usually like to ride that high a little bit and be like, hey, I've arrived. I feel good, and I'm here. This is who I'm called to be. A big loss is probably easier to flush because you want to forget about it as quickly as possible. It's like, well, that was a blip in the radar. It was a fluke. Yeah. I don't really think about it. I don't think that's who we are, and let's just get away with it. So I feel like a big win is harder to flush.
Coach had said yesterday that he was excited to get you guys back in the building, missed the Sunday get-togethers. So you guys get back together yesterday. What was the mindset, the mood, and the intensity that you feel like this week's going to bring for this football team?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I felt like, and the coaches did as well, felt like we had our best Tuesday practice of the year yesterday. And that's no surprise, no secret, because the investment has been, turned back to not only us as players, but the coaching staff, player personnel, and everybody in between. Everybody's all hands on deck. You get in the season, you kind of get in this flow state where it's like you let the coaches coach and the players play, and everybody's kind of gets in its routine. But sometimes you got to get your boots on the ground and get back to what got you to where you are. And that's what I felt like Tuesday was for us, grinding back, practicing really, 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 really hard, focusing on the details, the basics and individual drills, people being super invested with us in the weight room and the training room, and guys just recommitting themselves to the process. So.
I was at the Ole Miss Auburn game at Jordan-Hare last time they played there. Big win for Auburn. Really exciting atmosphere. You look at Ole Miss on tape with Jackson Dart. What do you see with that offense that you'll have to face on Saturday night?
Yeah, the quarterback's a gamer. He's a guy that's a high-level competitor. He's a guy that, is continuing to improve himself as a quarterback in his league, and he's, grown to be a solid one as well. And everybody knows about the running backs. Both of them are really, really good. They're high-level players in this league, so we're just going to continue to, hone in our craft. And obviously the tempo is going to be something that we're going to have to be prepared for, which we, fortunately enough, practice against it every single day. So, I see a lot of, good things from their offense, but nothing that, that is too crazy.
Is Lane Kiffin a guy that does kind of straightforward stuff, but they're really good at it? Is he a guy that tricks your eyes more than a normal guy? What is a Lane Kiffin offense like in those terms?
Well, I know he wants to score a lot of points. I do know that for sure. And I think is he uses the tempo, the speed of the game and the speed of his offense to mess with your eyes, not so much motions and different things and shifts like other programs do. So I feel like he uses the tempo to mess with your eyes and your alignment more so than the movement and eye candy that other coordinators usually do.
Yeah, it's an offense that your head coach respects a lot. He was asked Monday if this was the type of offense he wants to have at Auburn, and I know you guys are not there yet, but he said, yeah, absolutely. This is what I want to do at Auburn. And in fact, you were playing high school ball or junior high ball at the time. This is the tempo. Really, he was one of the first ones to bring it at the Southeastern Conference. Hugh Freeze was.
Exactly. And I remember people, kind of thought it wasn't going to be able to be successful in this league. You know how this league used to be, and it's still, ever growing and changing. But obviously, we have an offense that put up, as many points as their program does year in and year out. And I played against them for the multitude of years. You want to, I wouldn't say try to replicate it, but, try to put as many points up on the board as you can, like any offense tries to do. And they're doing a great job at it. So, if Coach Freeze, tips his hat to the offense, then I have to as well.
Will you participate in Halloween? Do you dress up for a Halloween party or anything like that?
Yeah, I do. This year, I'm being the Grinch, I think, for Halloween.
The Grinch. I like it.
Grinch, Jim Carrey, my favorite movie, Christmas movie of all time, and I just want to pay homage to him.
Do you do an imitation of Jim Carrey doing the Grinch?
Oh man, no. I try. I don't. Not really. I still got to work on it. I'll probably have something for you guys in a couple weeks, maybe.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We'll get you.
I was about to say, you're getting a costume question. My calendar says October 18th.
Well, okay, Jim. There's one more appearance he has. I just wondered if he had it lined up, and then the next appearance will be after Halloween. So
Okay,
it's too late then.
He's with us again one more time before
One more
Halloween,
time.
right?
I apologize for asking
Yeah.
a question in advance. My apologies to Elijah.
You know
how
yet,
it is.
you know yet what you want for Christmas. We'll go ahead and knock that out right now.
Yeah, honestly, I'm starting to think about it for a little bit. I mean, just talking about best holidays. We get to Halloween, Thanksgiving. You start thinking about best holidays. So everything's always holiday spirit.
All right,
Any resolutions for 2024 while we're doing this?
Yes. Right. Don't let it go. All right, so next appearance, we'll discuss Thanksgiving sides with Elijah McAllister, the Auburn team captain. Hey, good luck against Ole Miss, my friend. Always great talking with you.
Thank you very much. You as well. Talk soon.
All right, buddy. Take care. Elijah with us each week, courtesy of Craneworks and Rental Works, the big dog. And the big guy there. He and Tyler Booker both remind you check out the big dog for Craneworks and Rental Works.
Yeah, let's tell you about a couple of great sponsors. Before Brownie tells you about our friends at Michelson Laser Vision, I want to tell you about our friends at New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service, premium cuts of fresh meats. It's a butcher shop, so they cut the meat for you there. Cut to order, unbelievable. I love all the primes they have there. Sides, wonderful wine selection. You name it, they've got it right there. Cahaba Valley Road in Birmingham, and also right there off of Highway 119. You can't beat them. 2 locations, New York Butcher Shop here. It's where we pay off our stake bets. And also our friends right there at Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, they took Lance from legally blind, basically, to fighter pilot vision, and LASIK surgery could do that for you. You need to be screened and see if it's right for you. Dr. Jennifer Michelson and her father, Dr. Mark Michelson, who is an innovator in this field. I mean, this is a guy that does it as well as anyone. They are ready to give you that evaluation. Call Amy. Get evaluated. See if LASIK is right for you. 969-8100, MichelsonLaserVision.com. When you call Amy, say, hey, listen, I heard Brownie talking about Lance's fighter pilot vision. I want some of that. 969-8100, MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live. Mention Next Round at checkout, save 20% off any service. Hydra Live's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken. The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
You could win a Dodge Challenger RT or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Challenger RT and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings October 27th and 28th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, another hour of the show being brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. There's no Lance right here in this middle chair because Lance currently is doing one of our franchises up here, the original franchise. It's called Last Call with TJ Miller, who is at the Comedy Club tonight. A few tickets still available if you'd like to go to the Stardome Comedy Club tonight for the Gentle Giant Tour. It's an ages 18 and up show. The doors open at 6:15. The show starts at 7:30. It's a one performance, a one-off. TJ Miller in town today, the Gentle Giant Tour. And then later on all of our platforms, you'll get Last Call with Lance, TJ Miller, and some Redmont Vodka. So
I would imagine a good bit of it.
Always a good combination there. I've got 4 downs in just a second as we continue the conversation and a little sneaky good game, a spotlight coming up. But as we get ready for football and baseball tonight, we talked earlier about the big win for Jacksonville State. You realize I didn't point this out, but I had it written down here because it's the headline.
Okay.
Jack State with the win, bowl eligible.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Now, are they eligible to go?
I don't think they're not eligible for the conference championship. I do think there's a path to bowl eligibility, but I think it requires there not to be enough bowl eligible teams. So I think once all the bowls are filled, if there are not enough bowl eligible teams, the teams that are ineligible are now eligible, which seems stupid. It all seems stupid to me, first of all.
Right, because James Madison, technically, if they keep winning, could be the highest rated unbeaten team in the country, and they're not bowl eligible. Like, they can't go to the bowl game.
I know. I mean, this is so stupid. Like, why does it matter?
I know. We flipped the script on everything. Why don't we just waive the rules?
Yeah.
And I feel like we should just jump in here right now and waive the rules for this year. Everybody's playing Division I football this year is eligible for conference championships and bowl games.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I've never really understood this rule. I guess it was to discourage teams from jumping that should. I don't know. Why would you even have this rule in place?
I think it had to do with revenue sharing and moving up from lower classes just to grab a piece of the money when you got a good team and then maybe drifting back down.
Yeah.
I don't really know why.
I don't either. Stupid rule.
Yeah.
Stupid rule. Let them go to a bowl. What's it hurting? Bowls are exhibitions anyway. Don't really get it. Don't understand it. But I do think you're accurate in what you're saying.
Yeah.
That this is going to be a difficult path to a bowl game. But yeah, Jack State bowl eligible, which I'd have to say your first year, that's a massive win, right?
Yeah, 6-2 and
season's not over.
Yeah, probably a little disappointed not 7-1 right now.
Yeah, I mean, they were down to their third-team quarterback against Liberty last Tuesday night at home. That is a tight game until you're down to your third-team quarterback, and it's going to be hard to beat a good team like Liberty with your third-teamer out there. But, yeah, you could easily be 7-1. No doubt about it.
Last-second field goal wins it for Jack State last night. Liberty, they beat Middle Tennessee with a fourth-quarter touchdown, 42-35 to stay unbeaten. And South Alabama demolished Southern Miss 55-3. Baseball last night, the Phils over Arizona, the Diamondbacks, 10-0. They lead that series 2-0. Day off for them as they go to the desert. Back in action in Arlington tonight, Astros and Rangers. Rangers up 2-0, winning 2 in Houston. Max Scherzer to start tonight, 7 o'clock FS1 for the Astros and Rangers. He is starting for the Rangers. Verlander started game 1 for the Astros. Both of them were Mets to start the season.
So crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of trading. Yeah. Let's do 4 downs today. Brought to you by our friends at Slice. Brown, you love Slice.
Went there yesterday.
Tell us about our friends at Slice, and then we'll get into first down.
4 great locations, the most original pizzas you'll ever try. I love that soul pie. It's got the Connecticut sausage, black-eyed peas, turnip greens on it. I know you're like, on a pizza? Absolutely. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There at Slice. Family had it for dinner last night. For a great location, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
More important this weekend, would love to see your answers in the chat room as well. More important this weekend, a win for Ryan Day or a win for James Franklin?
You know, Ryan Day is, I don't think he's on a hot seat by any stretch of the imagination, but you are getting to the questions about him right now. He's lost to Michigan 2 years in a row now. They were a play away from going to the national championship game, even as not a conference champion last year when they played Georgia in the semis. So you can't ignore that. So he is starting to get a few questions. But then there's James Franklin, who just can't get over that Ohio State, Michigan hump at Penn State. Since it's at home, I'm going to say Ryan Day.
That's the way Stuart Mandel answered it in his mailbag. He said, obviously it's big for both, but he says most people do not expect Penn State to beat Ohio State in Columbus. And James Franklin, if he flips it around and wins the one he's supposed to win against Michigan in Happy Valley, then that's good. But I think you say the same thing about Ryan Day.
Yeah, I think it's equally important, obviously. But if I had to pick one, I think I'd go Ryan Day.
Because either one of these, as long as you can bounce back and beat Michigan, you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose this game, you're obviously pulling for the three-way tie. You know, you got to figure out a way the three-way tie benefits you. And I think it comes down to that statistical service, right? That sports analysis service that will end up breaking this tie at some point.
Yeah, 1-8 though is Franklin versus Ohio State, and as Daniel points out, 4-14 against Harbaugh and Day is what James Franklin is. So a lot of people don't beat those two teams.
Yeah.
But Penn State expects to be on the same level with Ohio State and Michigan, and if not this year, then when? Probably is what Penn State fans would be asking. Big for both. Can't wait to see that game coming up this weekend. Let's do second down.
Second down.
Caleb Williams, according to Pro Football Focus, is letting NFL teams know, if you draft me, I want you to include me in the ownership of the franchise that drafts me. Here it is. It's from Pro Football Talk. USC's Caleb Williams wants partial ownership from the NFL team that will select him in the 2024 draft. PFT reported in July that Caleb's reps have been making it known that Williams wants partial ownership of the team that selects him in 2024 if he declares for the draft. Additionally, Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers also attempted to secure equity during his contract discussions with the Jets, but the NFL stepped in to say that isn't allowed. I think the rule is you cannot play and own the team.
Well, what if you got traded? What happens?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's one reason the rule is there. I think the rule's there for a lot of reasons, Rexstar, but that is one reason.
But we're getting to the point where contracts are so big that I joked a few years ago that at some point, instead of paying somebody, 11 years and however many million of dollars, let me just give you a percentage of the company. But those percentages keep getting more and more valuable. So why would I give a percentage to the workforce?
Right. And the other reason, Rockstar, they do it too is it is a clear workaround on the salary cap, right? I can go to Dunaway and say, look, I'm going to pay you $10 million a year to be a top-end quarterback for me, but I'm also going to give you 1% of the team.
Yeah, and that gives me more money.
That's right. Gives me more money to use.
There was some discussion about Tom Brady when he was leaving New England, wanting to be the Dolphins, but also wanted to be in their ownership.
That's
group.
right. And for those that would say, well, just count the value of that 1% against the salary cap. Well, how do you do that?
That's right. It would blow the salary cap out of the water.
I mean, I'd have to give them like 0.1% because those franchises are so valuable. I mean, I don't know how you would ever do it. There's no way you can have this happen. I'm actually going to say this report will get denied. Caleb Williams' camp will say this is absolutely not true. Anybody involved will say it's not true. I don't even know that this might be some sort of, internet joke that this report has bitten on. This will be debunked.
Yeah, it's not a great look, though, is it?
Well, it's not, and that's why it'll be debunked, because they know it's a bad look, and also it can't happen.
Yeah, and not too good coming off of his 3-interception game on primetime against Notre Dame.
Bad time to ask for a cut of the company.
Take ownership of that.
Yeah, exactly. I guess at that point, after 3 interceptions, Forrester's not even there for me to make a Falcons joke.
Oh!
Let's do third down.
Third down.
More points this weekend. Ohio State, Penn State combined, or Alabama, Tennessee combined? Answer carefully. While you think.
And honestly.
Why you think. Remember this.
All right.
Ohio State, Notre Dame, 3-0 at the half. 3-0 at the half.
So the Alabama-Tennessee total at MyBookie.ag right now, code next round to play. The game's down to 8.5, by the way. Total of 49. The total for Ohio State and Penn State done away is 46.5. Vegas tells me it's Ohio State, Penn State.
Is the lower scoring
That's
game.
the lower scoring game. What Vegas is telling you.
I'm asking more points is.
Well, the Vegas tell me it's Alabama, Tennessee, but I'm going to say Ohio State, Penn State. The one thing Penn State does.
Tread lightly.
I'm being honest here, though, Rockstar. The one thing Penn State does is shrink games, and I don't know if they can do that against Ohio State. I'm going to look at this, Jim, but I think they still lead the nation in time of possession. Not a sexy category to lead the nation in. Air Force passed them, but only by a couple seconds per game. So on average, Penn State holds the ball 34 minutes per game. It was up to 36 minutes, so they must have, against UMass, they didn't have a whole lot of long possessions.
I think there's more points in Alabama, Tennessee, and here's why.
Okay.
Because, A, you've got quick strike capabilities with both these quarterbacks who love to throw the deep ball more than they do anything else.
They're better at
especially
it. Yep.
Jalen Milroe.
Yep, better at it than anything else.
Can throw the deep ball. So those are quick scores. The flip side of that is turnovers can be a problem for both these guys. Alabama's defense is so good. Tennessee's great at pressuring the quarterback, which can force some passes out early, short fields, interceptions, pick sixes. Those are points as well. I can see where Tennessee, Alabama scores more than Ohio State, Penn State, which probably plays a little bit more closer to the vest, like Ohio State and Ryan Day tried against Notre Dame.
Yeah. I'm going to go Ohio State, Penn State. Yeah, I don't feel good about either answer on that one, though.
Steak?
I will not go steak with you. No, thank you.
Let's do
we'll circle back.
Let's do fourth down.
Fourth down.
Feel like I have to say these nowadays. Heavenly birthday. I know he's passed. For Keith Jackson.
Keith Jackson died, don't I?
Yeah, I know.
What, Nelly?
Keith Jackson. Favorite Keith Jackson, not his call, but favorite game that you remember Keith Jackson doing.
Well, I mean, I think what was not that Rose Bowl his final game?
It was the
Texas
Vince Young.
Yeah, I mean, what a way for the legend, the GOAT, to go out, right? Is to have that game, which is one of the best of all time. I do remember him doing great Iron Bowls when I was a kid, and one of my favorite stories about Keith Jackson is Brock Heward tells, and he's told it on this show before, that the first game he ever played at Washington, he came in off the bench, and Keith Jackson was calling the game, and he said, I could not wait to get back to my dorm, pop the tape in, rewind it, and hear Keith Jackson talk about me. Think about that, a college player saying that about an announcer. And Brock does a great imitation. He's like, I come in and he goes, here comes the young one from Puyallup, Washington, And he was like, that made my career, that Keith Jackson was talking about me in a game. And I know we don't have those guys really anymore. I mean, we got really good announcers, but there's not a Keith Jackson out there. There's not a guy where you're like, if you are in my best matchup, because it ended up being Keith Jackson and Bob Greasy, and then that was the way he retired. But when I was a kid, you had Keith Jackson and Frank Broyles. And to me, that was, if Keith Jackson and Frank Broyles were doing the game, I'm assuming I'm watching the most important game in college football.
Most important game in the country.
Yep. And I know Brent Musburger was over on CBS doing some important ones, but that ABC Keith Jackson game to me must have been the most meaningful game of the day because Keith Jackson was on it. And Frank Broyles would say, that's power football, Keith, power football.
Oh, Jackson.
Power football.
Yeah, no, some great calls. Called the kick. Now, you always hear the Alabama radio version, but the kick was a Keith Jackson call as well.
Yep. I don't even remember because all I remember
is
it's
good.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
That's the Paul Kennedy, Doug Layton radio version.
Yep.
Did the 92 Sugar Bowl game.
He did.
George Teague.
I mean, he did a lot of important Bear Bryant games, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. 79 Sugar Bowl. In fact, on TikTok the other day, Keith Jackson was setting up before Alabama played Arkansas in the Sugar Bowl. Keith Jackson, and this was the TikTok feed, was setting up the legend Paul Bryant talking about the future of a possible college football playoff.
Yeah.
And Coach Bryant was for the bowls.
I love the bowl
but one
game.
day could see a playoff on how it would work. But would want to make sure they protected the bowls.
What if he'd have said, Texas and Oklahoma will be in the SEC then by the time that happens?
Playoffs?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to tell me next, Texas? There's no such thing as a Southwest Conference anymore?
I saw one.
Lou Holtz, who I'm coaching tomorrow, is going to coach Notre Dame someday? Come on.
I stumbled across one on TikTok, too, with him, and it's Keith Jackson kicking it down to a halftime interview with Bear Bryant. You know who's doing the halftime interview?
Who?
Vern Lundquist.
Vern Lundquist.
Isn't that funny?
Oh, I saw that too.
Yeah,
exactly.
I didn't know Vern worked for ABC. I thought he was a CBS lifer.
I thought he was, he's a Cowboy play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
And then I thought he went straight to play-by-play. I didn't know he did sidelines.
Vern did it was apparently doing sidelines. It was an old school Iron Bowl, I think, and they were interviewing Bear Bryant at halftime. It was Vern Lundquist doing the interview.
And Bear got upset with him. Like, we're just trying to score points.
I'm just trying to score. I'm just trying to win games.
Yeah. Terrence over on Facebook, watching us on Facebook. Keith did do the Vince going for the corner. Went over Texas
call.
USC.
Yeah.
All right, that's our 4 downs today, brought to you by our friends at Slice. Also in part today by our friends at Hemphill. If something's not running right, flowing right, draining right, or flushing right, call our friends at Hemphill. They got a great deal right now if you go check them out. Check out that heat before the cold weather moves in. 48 today when I got in my car.
Woo!
So it's going to get cold here soon. Hemphill has been trusted in Birmingham since 1954. They are the absolute best for all your plumbing, your cooling, and your heating needs. Trust the name Birmingham's trusted since 1954. Hemphill Services, 205-229-2090. 229-2090. That's our friends at Hemphill Services. Someone, Lance or Brownie, will have trash coming up in the next segment. Still to go, we'll give our sneaky good game here in this segment. One other thing to tell you about, though, before we get that, there is, the NFL's doing it again. Blonde artist, Hall of Famer. They announced going to be singing at halftime of a big national television game.
Is this the Thanksgiving game?
I'm setting you up to think it's Taylor Swift.
No, it's not Taylor Swift. I know better than that.
You
yes.
apparently already know the story.
No, I don't. I'm just saying normally the Thanksgiving game has a big halftime act.
It is Dolly Parton who is going to sing halftime of Washington and Dallas on Thanksgiving Day.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So.
I didn't know Dolly
still performed.
Yeah, I didn't know she did. Yeah. American legend. You're not going to besmirch the name of Dolly Parton.
Amazing.
Not at all.
That doesn't really get me excited that she's performing.
My only fear.
You're appealing. What? Is she going to die first?
My only fear is that she has released a rock album, I think this year, and I hope she's not playing those songs. I hope she plays her songs, the Dolly Parton songs.
Wake up, put a little on the makeup. That's what you wanted to. You wanted to. Whatever you wanted to. I don't think you trust my.
All right, let's do Sneaky Good Game today, Brownie. Sneaky Good Games will be brought to you by our friends at Odie's. Tell us about Odie's.
Oh, Rockstar tonight. I'm going to be out there with you for what?
Trivia.
What time do we start, Rockstar?
Around 8.
Around 8.
Around 8.
Rockstar and
in there.
Rockstar and I tonight are both going to be at the carnival event at Shades Mountain Baptist Church, letting our kids bounce around and grab some candy.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, Shades Mountain Baptist Church, shades.org if you want to see more information. Tonight, 5:30, go see Rockstar's kid dressed up as...
We have 2 options. We don't know which one we're going with yet.
But then after that, we're headed over to Odie's Tavern, Crestline Village. You go grab lunch there right now. Come out and see us tonight for award-winning trivia at 8 o'clock. Odie's Tavern, great place to watch all the games. Get those big cup cocktails, Rodney's cheeseburger, the Diablo sandwich, and trivia tonight, 8 o'clock, Odie's Tavern in Mountain Brook.
The College Football Spotlight.
This weekend's Sneaky Good Game.
All right, Sneaky Good Game, Brownie. What do you have? I have the best Sneaky Good Game.
Second time. It's not a contest, Jim. Second time.
You had to choose. I told you who I had. You had to choose the second best Sneaky Good Game.
Yeah, but I'm going to go with the second time this game has been mentioned on the show today. Our boy Richard Cross is going to be doing this game. UTSA at FAU, an American game down in Boca. 5 o'clock. You're going to need to stream this one. It's on the Plus, ESPN Plus. Why are you smirking, Jim?
It's an American game.
It is an American game, not international, Rockstar. This is American.
Is that a plus or an X?
That is a plus.
Okay.
But everything's written on the slant because I didn't have time for artwork here.
I went on the slant.
Yeah, I didn't have time for artwork, so I just wanted to make it not so basic, so I went on the slant. So that is a plus. Does it help if I do that for you right there? Is that a plus better for you? Yeah. 5 o'clock ESPN Plus, UTSA at FAU. By the way, total in that game, 60. So they expect a lot of points in that one.
My Sneaky Good Game's at 3 o'clock, actually on ESPN-U.
The U.
On the slant. Toledo, the Rockets, taking on the Red Hawks of Miami of Ohio. Both these teams unbeaten in the MAC. They lead each of the divisions. Chance they'll play each other again in the MAC championship game. A little MACtion at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Best MACtion game of the year. And it's not during MACtion. It's not during the weeknight.
I prefer I do not watch Saturday MACtion. I did this Saturday because Northern Illinois is the Brown Bandit pick. But I prefer my MACtion in the middle of the week.
Both these teams 6-1 overall. A little MACtion action. is my sneaky good game today, brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. We appreciate them so much, and we love the sneaky good games. We'll get to trash coming up as part of the next segment as we roll on here on the show that's being brought to you this hour by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Highway 119 in Alabaster, open for lunch right now. Perfect for your tailgate as well. Sterling and the crew, look at that big, juicy Southern fried chicken. I like the two big breasts. I'm a white meat kind of guy. All the sides that go with that, the hand-cut chicken fingers, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. Sterling will hook you up for football. Champy'sChicken.com, Champy'sChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster.
The Burnout with the SEC Network's Peter Burns and Ryan Brown weekly at Disrupt the Media on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
As summer bids adieu, get ready to welcome the arrival of fall. But hey, it's not just football season making an entrance. In the world of pest, it's fall invader season. Hold on tight, because we got 4 major troublemakers stepping into the spotlight: box elder bugs, kudzu bugs, ladybugs, and stink bugs. These pests don't just knock, they barge in like they own the place. But fear not, dial up Wayne's Pest Control now, 865-588-6686, and show those fall invaders who's boss. Don't let pests crash your fall. Take charge today. Do you need extra cash handy? Look no further than Legacy Credit Union for whatever loan your lifestyle requires. It only takes a few minutes to apply and request the amount you need to give you peace of mind. With affordable low rates and manageable payback plans, a Legacy Lifestyle loan is crafted just for you. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com/join. Lifestyle loans from Legacy. Terms and conditions may apply. Legacy is federally insured by the NCUA.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
DryTech Water Restoration is a locally owned company that specializes in mold remediation, fire and water damage cleanup, and SteraMist services. DryTech's goal is to provide clients with expert guidance when dealing with any home disaster. DryTech's highly trained specialists are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They will work closely with you and your insurance company to make sure the process is stress-free as possible. Call DryTech today, 205-637-0143. The moment you discover damage to your home, DryTech's team will handle the rest.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you: Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Start your day online at nextroundlive.com. Get all the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. And it's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Birmingham, guess who is back? Our friend TJ Miller. The Gentle Giant Tour, it continues at the Comedy Club Stardome, coming up one night only, Wednesday, October 18th. Doors open at 6:15. Show goes off at 7:30. To order tickets right now, 444-0008 or stardome.com. TJ Miller, you remember him from Silicon Valley, from the Deadpool movies, one of the most sought-after comedians in the world. This Wednesday, October 18th, Comedy Club Stardome. For more information, stardome.com.
Wow, special guests in studio. We're getting ready for the Comedy Club tonight. Just a few tickets left. You can still get in. The doors open, I think, at 6:15. Shows at 7:30.
Get there at 6:14.
Get there at 6:14. Dadgummit. Don't get caught in too long of a line.
Dadgummit.
That's an old Southern term, TJ Miller.
I like dadgummit. I'll say, God damn it.
Yes, gummit.
TJ Miller was in studio with us years ago. And I'll tell you, this is how I remember this. First time we met him, and I went to his show at the Comedy Club Stardome, 444-0008, stardome.com.
He's a pro.
We went backstage, and I was telling them we're about to start a morning show the next morning.
Oh, that was really the day before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It was the day before we did mornings, and then we got TJ in one more time, I think in 2018, and me and Rocky went to see him. We hung backstage, and we get to see him again tonight, 444-0008. There's only a few tickets left. You need to book it right now. Stardome.com. But we've got a table tonight. I'm looking forward to this.
Me too.
It'll be great. Yeah,
We're coming
it's gonna be
backstage
so fun.
too after the
Yeah,
show.
There's going to be some of that too. You guys are going to get so wasted. You're going to start another morning show.
I hope not.
That's probably what it would take.
I hope not.
Hey,
we had
I left my hair in the afternoons. I lost all my hair when we moved to mornings.
We had him in
It's like, no.
We had him in the green room, and he's like, there is no windows, there's no clocks, and we don't know what time it is, and we're drinking this early.
We were having a great time in there, and I've learned a lot of Southern terms, even this morning. Dadgummit, poon. Poon.
Yeah, you spent time with
He said I was being a real poon in there, and I think I was. I called my mother. I said, I hate to say I'm being a poon so soon, but I don't want to be a poon. I'd like us to talk soon.
Hey, can we?
I would say this is how this went. Hey, let me pour you a Redmont vodka. No, I don't want one yet. He says, oh, come on, don't be a poon. Is that how it went?
That's it.
That was not it. He wanted a Redmont vodka.
Dadgummit.
Hey, I think
it's gluten-free. And I almost always have my vodka with gluten. So I'll put a dinner roll in there. Or I do, people say fully loaded baked potato. I don't think it's fully loaded until there's vodka on it. Okay?
Exactly.
Cheese, bacon, sour cream, a little bit of Redmont. That's right.
I think we do an audible. We save this trash for tomorrow.
I was going to suggest that.
And we just talk to it
Patrick,
a little bit.
I'd love to be doing trash, but you got to put periods in my name. Yeah, Eric Bachman. We were talking about it. You can only get away with that in the South. Love this guy from She's Out of My League. Thank you. And I always wonder, Rusty, is your girlfriend or lady out of your league? Because I think the reason guys like that so much is we're all aspiring to be with a woman where you walk down the street and people look at you as a couple and go, what happened?
Yeah.
What does he have going on?
He's got money.
Yeah, he's got something.
Do you always do that? They're like, there's some that are tied, but most relationships you can figure out who's winning that deal, right? Like, she's way better than he could deserve. And then sometimes you're like,
But then it's usually the guy's got some stealth situation going on where sometimes it's money. Sometimes he's just funny, man.
Yeah.
He just makes her laugh. You laugh her into bed. You don't want to make her laugh too hard. She'll fall out of bed. You would laugh him into bed. Don't laugh him out of bed. Have the intercourse, social or sexual, and then you can,
I saw a promotional video you were shooting for the Stardome the other day, and with two young ladies on the street, and I thought to myself, both of those young ladies out of your league.
Yeah,
but I remembered you were funny then, so yes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That was so funny. It was these two almost models, like they were Asian and they were really tall, and they put their phone on the lamppost and they were doing their Instagrams, sort of trying all different. And then they would look at it and they go, no, here, do it again, do it. And then, what if I'm barely looking? There it is. You're only going to see me for a second, and then I'm gone. I'm here, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And it was such a funny moment because I walk over and go, do you guys want me to take a picture? And they both looked at me and they're like, no. Like, why would we need you to take a picture? We're having enough trouble on our own. And then I said, okay, well, will you help me with the video? And they're like, what video? Sort of. And I go, well, I'm a comedian. They go, yeah, we'll do it. Because that's kind of fun. It's non-threatening. It's not going to be a weird thing at all. And so, yeah, it is, that type of thing is like, I think we were talking about how highly prized humor is, especially right now. And stuff is just so difficult. And that's the Stardome I love too, because yesterday we talked about this. I improvise a lot. So a lot of my show is just, some of it's crowd work. Some of it's just what's been going on in Birmingham, my experiences there. And it's just been great to kind of go to Dave and Buster's, go and just sort of collect these little moments throughout.
Dave and Buster's.
He was there last night.
I was there last night. It's the only bar that was open when I got in. It was a long flight. Went in there. They said, "Would you want some credits for hoop shoot and skee ball?" And I said, "No, but I'll take a Jim Beam." And I said,
chicken cock.
I said, "Yeah, you got any chicken cock or red one?" And she said no, and I said, "Well, I'll take 2 credits to skee ball and Jim Beam, and we'll see what happens." She goes, "But you got to do podcasts tomorrow. I mean, you're on next round."
That's right, of course.
Are you going to be okay? I said, "I think it'll be all right. I heard that sometimes they drink there in the morning."
So from Denver, lived in L.A., now New York. How much better is New York than L.A.? I lived in L.A. for a minute, but I think New York is so much better.
Oh, beyond. And Los Angeles, we were also talking, Los Angeles is just the heart of woke, cancel culture, really they're the heart of not getting the joke or not feeling comfortable making the joke. And there are so many good things about the sort of sentiment behind, culture, progressive culture. And then there are times when it just gets ground down to a halt because people are being so precious, so, selective outrage, as Chris Rock calls it. And so Los Angeles is just too much of that. It's like they've been swallowed away. And in New York, it's great because we're very progressive. But fuck, we don't have a lot of time for this shit. We got to make rent. I got to be here by 3:15 because I'm supposed to be downtown at fucking 4:30. And it's like that supersedes any of the stuff of being precious. Wait, what did you just say to me? I don't fucking remember. All right. I got to get out of here. All right. And so that kind of attitude to me, I really, really like. And then stand up in New York, I can do 3-4 shows in one night. On a Wednesday, I can go do 3-4. On a Friday night, I did 8 shows, just bouncing around all throughout Manhattan. And so that's nice too, because you've got so many different audiences that you really get a sense of like what works, what doesn't. So I go home this coming week and I'll probably do between 10 and 12 sets during the week. And by the end of that, I feel like I'll have a strong sort of understanding about how well Poon and Dad Gummit work kind of
Dad Gummit. It works great.
Hey, 8 shows in one night, man. If you need a little money, LT's got a little for you. He slide a little your way.
I was in the other room with him hearing about his sort of Poon scenarios. And I think I'm going to have to do 10 shows this week, float him some cash. Yeah, it's so good. And it's fun too. I mean, I love that you guys are here and it's this, because I was also asking, do you guys feel like when you don't have the corporate, the restriction on it, do you feel like you can be a little bit more creative, a little more fuck around, a little whatever it is, and a little less restrained, and so it's easier and better, do you think?
Well, I think anytime...
It'd be funny if he goes, no.
Yeah, no, not really, TJ. Thanks for joining us. I think
hard break right here.
Yeah,
sorry, got to get in a sponsor.
No,
I think
anytime you're... And I don't think we were ever scared of losing our jobs, but I will say this: you just see it in that industry. Like a guy makes one mistake and he never gets to recover from it. Like he gets labeled for life. He says something stupid. Okay, he says something stupid, right? Yeah. We all say something stupid.
Or out of anger. I mean, it was Opie and Anthony. I used to do that show a lot, and Anthony kind of was angry and went on a Twitter rant, and it was just enough to make them just fire him. It's over. And it's so, since then I'm friends with Jim Norton and they have a show, Jim and Sam on Sirius, and Norton, every single time I talk to him, he's like, I'm just trying to pay this house off because I don't know, how long am I going to have this job? When are they going to turn around? And you come to think, I mean, that guy's a giant star and he's worried. He's kind of walking into work worried. And it's like, you guys are huge, but not coming into work going, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Is this the day?
We were staring down that barrel and we looked around to all the people that are up here now. We were like, we want to work with these people and we don't want any of these people to be out of work. And that's how we started thinking about doing this so we could protect each other's back.
And it's
mostly
beyond
him. Mostly him.
Right. No, but really, I mean, that's amazing because you have a team that loves working with you. It's the best of the best. And they have that thing that you just said. They're kind of like, okay, this is ours instead of this is a thing that can be taken away at any moment.
Yeah, but I've also seen in that industry, both TV, Jim worked a lot in TV as well. I've dabbled in it. But TV and radio where like successful people in successful shows get laid off or fired. And you're like, well, that show was killing it. Well, yeah, but we had a number we had to lay off. And you're like, well, why would you lay off the people that are successful? Well, we couldn't lay off those people. We're down to a skeleton crew on that station.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you don't have to worry about that every day, it is refreshing.
Okay, let's get back to Poon Talk.
Let's talk Poon.
Yeah. Well, great name for a podcast, by the way, if you want to start that. Poon Talk.
Poon Talk. That would actually be our podcast. Would be Poon Talk. I'm in.
I'm down, man. Whenever you want to do it.
Poon Talk. We do it over Zoom. Poon has to be nearby, but not within reach. And then there you go. No, I was on... I was on morning television this morning, and that went from, having 3 or 4 camera operators, people coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Now they all sort of have to do it themselves. So you got the anchor attaching
the anchor's holding the teleprompter.
Yeah, doing it themselves.
So the anchor put your mic on for you?
Well, the Birmingham's doing a lot better than other places, but it is, you go to certain places and it's kind of this like, it's not, this world is so much more refreshing. It's so much nicer. And it feels so much more real instead of kind of feeling sort of stilted. And for me, the best poon is the real poon.
Hey, so Bobby is saying, speaking of TV, I wonder if TJ felt any satisfaction when Silicon Valley sucked ass after he left. What did I tell you in the green room when we were recording last call?
There was some talk in the green room, I'm not going to mention who, but said that maybe Silicon Valley went down a little bit or completely after I left. And what I said was that I didn't leave because I was like, this show sucks. I just didn't think it was going to get better. I had done what I needed to do on it and was starting to go into autopilot. Because we were talking about this also. You guys are improvisers. Every day is different for you, And if somebody throws something up here and says, Pooncast, which, thank you, Patrick. You've already, okay, there you go. Then you're reacting to that. That's going to be a different reaction. In acting, sometimes you get there, they give you the words, your entire day is spent saying 5 lines. And it's fun because I can improvise and I'll do different stuff. And when I get hired, they know that I'm going to just make things up. But after a while, the character, it was so ingrained. So I said, I've got to kind of leave and do something else. Otherwise, I'm doing a disservice to the audience that loves seeing this character if I'm just like phoning it in, kind of.
Yeah.
And so that was part of the reason I left. And I think this show changed and maybe not for the better.
Yeah.
Can I ask you
real quickly, the bong on the show, is that a prop or were you really using that? Because I had stopped smoking marijuana until I watched Silicon Valley, and then it was such a craving. I was like, oh, I've got to get a bong now.
I love that. Well, see, and then we all would have been thrown off the air if you'd said that. It was a prop that was also functional.
Okay.
So I'll put it that way.
That's
if one was to want to smoke marijuana using the prop, then yes.
Yeah.
It works.
So I
had to test it.
Wanted to be realistic, right? Yes.
I forgot to ask you when we were in the green room and we'll have a last call coming out. I don't know how long it'll be, but we'll have it out there. And it's really, really good stuff, behind the scenes stuff with TJ Miller. But watching Steven Spielberg and his films over the year, one thing I've learned about Spielberg is he takes characters or actors that a lot of people don't know, and he will cast them in projects because he really enjoys their work. And this is a bad example, but Vince Vaughn, I'm sure he saw him in Swingers and then put him in Jurassic Park 2. I'm sure Steven Spielberg saw you in Silicon Valley and then put you in Ready Player One.
So the weirdest thing about Steven Spielberg, in my opinion, is that I have been working with him since my first project, but I didn't know that. So I did this show called Carpoolers, and it was produced by DreamWorks, and I met him, and he said, oh, my wife is a huge fan of you on this show. I was like, you guys watch Carpoolers? And he goes, yeah. And he kind of looked at me like, yeah, I fucking produce it. So, okay, I don't want people in the chat saying that I use the F word too much, all right? But he's like, I fucking produced this thing in his mind, and I'm going, oh, it's really cool. He kind of likes this ABC show that I'm on or whatever. Yeah. And then I would later find out that DreamWorks did How to Train Your Dragon, so he put me in those. He did Transformers. He produced it. He gave notes on Cloverfield. He produced Office Christmas Party. He produced She's Out of My League.
So I had no idea on all that.
And he directed and, of course, produced Ready Player One. And when I went into Ready Player One, that was the only time that he's directed me so far. And I said, thank you, Steven. I was like calling him by his full name. So thank you, Steven Spielberg, for putting me in your movie. So funny. One time he goes, TJ, you can call me Steven. I was like, okay. He was like, so are you going to call me Steven from now on? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right. And I'm like, thank you, Steven Spielberg. But I kind of, I didn't really understand it. But I said to him, thanks for having me in your film, Steven Spielberg. And he goes, yeah, of course. I mean, there wasn't anybody else. I said, oh, thanks. And he goes, I know that's
what a
funny.
compliment, yes.
And he goes, no, I mean, we wrote the part for you. And it's just, that was one of those moments in your life where you're just like floored and you're like, really? And the guy, Zach Penn, who's a brilliant writer, who was with him, he sort of went, yeah, you know, I mean, we thought of you, and so then we wrote this thing. And so in the weirdest way, he's been like my biggest fan for the longest time. And he's also just one of those guys who he's just so cool. And Kate and I she came out there. That's my wife, Kate. She came out there. His wife's name is Kate also. So it's funny to talk to Steven Spielberg and be like, how's your Kate doing? And he sort of said to me once, he goes, we were just talking about something. And I said, what do you hate? And he was like, what? And I go, what's something that you really hate? And he was like, Tabbouleh. And I was like, I hate Tabbouleh too.
We're brothers.
So we kind of laughed. Right, Tabbouleh brothers. Anti-Tabbouleh. These Tabbouleh eaters are a bunch of puns. and so we kind of both laughed about that. And I go, we should put that in the movie. And he was like, you think? I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, let's do. So in Ready Player One, there's a line where I say, I hate these three things. It's like pirates, steampunk, and Tabbouleh. And it just makes me laugh so much that you think about this director that is huge blockbusters made, but it's fun to see him as a guy who's like, I do hate Tabbouleh. And yeah, it would be funny if we said that in my movie. And then that's how stuff ends up. There's a line in Transformers where Michael Bay was like, I was up last night trying to figure out, I don't like this scene. I don't like it. So let's rewrite it. And I go, what? And he goes, let's think of something else for it. And I go, you want me to right now just think of something that 1 billion people are going to see? He goes, yeah. Yeah, he goes, what if it's like my surfing safari and like Oahu, and we could pitch things back and forth. And then at the end, I turn to Bay and I go, I think yours is the funniest. Let's do yours. And that's in the movie. And it's been seen by, I laughed, Kate and I was talking about, it's been seen by like, what was it? It's been seen by 500 million Chinese people have listened to that line of my surfing safari in Oahu. And I just imagine 500 million Chinese people be like, Oahu.
Hey, again, if you want unscripted, improvised, great material, intelligent comedy, you want to laugh, tonight, 444-0008, stardome.com, TJ Miller. Show starts at 7:30, 18 and up. 6:15 doors open. We're going to be there tonight. Looking forward. Thanks so much, man. You're
Thank
awesome.
you guys. Johnny Knoxville's a great guy. I do. Thank you for saying Deadpool's my best work, but you haven't seen Yogi Bear 3D. And I'm so happy to be here because I was always on the previous round. I used to go on that show. But
Totally
now
you.
I've made it. The next round.
Right.
Yes.
Next
Thanks,
round.
guys.
Can't wait till you put on our gear and we take a picture of that and make money off of you like everyone else seems to do.
That's why my wife's with me. She's out of my league.
Thank you, TJ. That was brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Tell us about Mortgage Right as we head to break.
Yeah, 815-9200. Buying a home is a major milestone in life. Getting it right comes down to the right advice at the right time. That's why we're proud to partner with our friends at Mortgage Right who do mortgages the right way. 205-815-9200 or mortgageright.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at New Life Art. Daniel A. Moore has completed his original full-color oil painting honoring Bryce Young, Alabama's 4th Heisman Trophy winner. This painting depicts the memorable Heisman-worthy go-ahead pinpoint pass to John Mechie in the corner of the end zone as the Tide dismantled the vaunted Georgia defense in the SEC championship game this past year. Use code TNR for 15% off. You can order online at danielmooreart.com. Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and our entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Football season is here, and Legacy Credit Card is just what you need to manage your spending safely and wisely. Credit cards offer better consumer protection against fraud when compared to a debit card, which is linked directly to your bank account. Legacy offers rates as low as 8.9% APR on credit cards compared to major card providers who advertise rates as high as 29% APR. Look no further than Legacy. Open a credit card online in minutes at legacycreditunion.com/join. APR's annual percentage rate, rates, and offers subject to change. See website for details. Federally insured by NCUA.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 in Hoover with walk-ons.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast like Bama and Bourbon, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Only on this show, a transition from comedian and actor T.J. Miller to former Tennessee quarterback and now sportscaster Erik Ainge. After I tell you about Storm Restoration Roofing, Greg from Pell City, free no-cost roof inspection, 205-542-3531, 542-3531, or look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City, A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. It only takes a 20-second hailstorm in the summer or a windstorm to cause damage to your shingles or something else on the roof. If you haven't had it inspected, now's the time. 205-542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook at Storm Restoration Roofing.
At Erik Ainge 3 on Twitter is where you find him. You can also hear him on the Sports Animal up there in Knoxville, Tennessee. The former Tennessee quarterback with us now on the Johnston RV Center.com hotline. What is up, Erik Ainge? How are you today?
It's Bama Week, guys. I'm doing great. How are we doing?
Doing fantastic. There was a time where Bama Week didn't quite get the attention around here like it used to.
Or but it does now.
Tennessee Week, as it is called here, but boy, it does now. Listen, I grew up in this state. You played for Tennessee. I am happy to see the energy back in this rivalry. It's a fun rivalry, a fun game. I am glad Josh Heupel has Tennessee back to the level where there's more energy in this rivalry.
It needs to be that way, man. It's the third Saturday in October. It's one of the greatest rivalries in college football, and I agree, man. For the longest time, it was disheartening not to get excited about the third Saturday in October. And I know we're 9.5. I got us at 9.5. Point underdogs, and it's on the road, but both teams do a lot of things well. Both teams haven't done some things as good as they probably want to, but it should be a good football game.
From outside eyes, when you watch Jalen Milroe play quarterback, what do you think of him?
I think he's a good player. He throws deep balls really well. I don't understand. I know there's some, talk you guys would know more than I about, his hamstring, but you can go back and watch the season when it started versus Texas. I don't know why he plays like he's a pocket passer so often. He drops back there. Sorry, my seatbelt's going off. He drops back and the pocket breaks down. Alabama gives up a lot of sacks, a lot of which because he just stays back there. If it's man-to-man or they're bringing pressure or your offensive tackle's getting beat and you're that athletic, he should be more prone to stick his foot in the ground and scramble and go make plays. And I don't know why he hasn't done that more. But just blaming Bama's O-line for their 31 sacks they've given up, I don't think that's a fair criticism. I think a lot of them are on him.
There are people that feel like he's maybe playing a little bit banged up too, Erik, and that's one reason he's not running as much. And you've played the position, if you've got a nagging injury, whether it's a hammy, whether it's a shoulder, I don't know what it might be. Those are some of the speculations. You can see that, right, from a quarterback. Like, I got to protect my body, too, especially now that he has seen Alabama's backup situation against South Florida. If they lose him, it is lights out.
Yeah, no, that very well could be that. But, in football, guys get hurt, guys get banged up, and that becomes part of the game plan. And we were talking about it on the show this morning. Do you spy Milroe? And I said, you have to have a plan for him. You got to have Beasley or one of the guys ready if Jalen is feeling good and using his legs a lot. You have to have a game plan ready for that. But I don't think you have to waste the guy until he proves he's willing to start beating you with his legs a lot. And Tennessee up front, Alabama and Tennessee are very similar in just about every single defensive category. Both teams have a lot of really good athletes up front. Both teams are pretty hard to block. It's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, we focus on quarterbacks, that this isn't Bryce Young versus Hendon Hooker, two NFL quarterbacks, 52-49. But I think also the difference between last year's quarterbacks to this year's quarterbacks, it's about the same gap from last year's defenses to this year's defenses on the improvement on both sides of the ball there. This Tennessee and Alabama defense, this is some old school slobber knocker SEC football defense, isn't it?
It is. Both teams are really good up front. Both teams have some good DBs. I mean, I think Alabama has more NFL talent at defensive back, but Tennessee the last couple games has done very well. Gabe Judy-Lawley, Kamal Hatton, excuse me. Those guys are playing good football. So which team can block up front? Which team is going to be able to stop the run? I mean, this is old school Tennessee, Alabama football. The Alabama scored 24 against Texas, 24 against Ole Miss, 24 against Arkansas, 26 against A&M. A couple outliers there against bad teams, 40 Mississippi State. But they've kind of been against good teams, and I think Tennessee defensively especially has a good team. They've been in the low to mid-20s. I kind of think that's what you're going to see in this football game. And, Tennessee, we beat A&M last week, guys, by running the football exceptionally well, playing great defense, getting a special teams touchdown. That's not going to win in Tuscaloosa. Just running the ball and playing good defense. You might lose a one-score game, but you're not going to win. If you want to win the passing game, Joe Milton and these receivers, without Brew McCoy, it's been tough sledding. But they're going to have a better day than they did against Texas A&M. I don't for a second think you go win in Tuscaloosa by just running and just playing good defense. The passing game for Tennessee is going to have to be better.
It is Erik Ainge with us, the former Tennessee quarterback, now host there on the Sports Animal. At Erik Ainge 3 on Twitter is where you find him. At Erik Ainge 3. He's on the Johnston RV Center.com hotline. Has there been any element of frustration from Heupel maybe this year? I mean, he was driving a Ferrari with that offense last year, and this one has been, as you've mentioned several times, with Joe Milton, a quarterback, a little more difficult to call plays for. I mean, as a guy that loves calling ball plays, he had it about as good as you could have it last year, and it's come more difficult this year.
It has, and a lot of, I put a lot of it on Heupel too, because, and I wouldn't, if Butch Jones was still the coach, I wouldn't say, well, the play calling needs to be more intricate. We need to find a way to dial them up. But Josh Heupel is one of the best, widely regarded as one of the best offensive minds and play callers in all of college football. So there is going to have to be some stress put on him. But, it's one of those things where I don't think Tennessee and Joe Milton and these receivers, because you guys know, you got to put them together. You can't just blame the quarterback. You can't just blame the receivers. When the passing game isn't clicking, that's one unit, the passer and the catchers. And right now, Tennessee is nowhere near being elite or being exceptional, but they're close to being good enough. If Tennessee can run the football like they've been running the ball all year and play defense, especially like they have late, then Joe Milton and these receivers don't have to throw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. They just need to be efficient and hit a couple big plays. And, last week against Texas A&M, Ramel Keaton dropped another touchdown. And he's been pretty steady. I mean, he was one of the guys on the drive last year that caught one of the 2 chunk plays to get us in field goal range. He's been a good player. We're close to being good enough in the passing game, and that's all you have to be if you can play good defense and run. So that's kind of what I'm looking for this weekend. I'm looking for Joe Milton and these receivers to be good enough, and that's kind of what Alabama has done some too. I mean, Milroe, in every game, it seems like the other team figures out Alabama and they stall out at some point. Arkansas, A&M, Texas, at some point, Alabama's offense struggles, but they're still able to find a way to hit big plays. They have 21 over 25-yard passing plays on the year. Tennessee only has 8. So finding a way to hit some of those big plays and get some chunk yardage is going to be a big part of this game.
Douglas in the Vulcan Tire and Automotive chat room first says he thanks you for everything you've done for Tennessee, and then he asks if you have eligibility left. I know your last year at Tennessee was 2007. where you went on to be drafted in 2008. That was sort of when Nick Saban was getting it going in Tuscaloosa. He had just arrived. 200 wins later as the Alabama coach. Did you think, as it was all starting back then, that Nick Saban would still be the coach at Alabama in 2023?
Absolutely not, because he's the greatest college football coach ever, and you figured maybe he'd give the NFL another try or something like that. But, I mean, listen, guys, Alabama, is this the best Alabama team he's ever had? No. Best offense? No. Best defense? No. Is Alabama still undefeated in league play with one tough loss to a really good football team with all their hopes and dreams still in front of them? Yeah, I mean, all they got to do is win out and, beat Tennessee, beat LSU, find a way to win an SEC championship game, and they're still a playoff contender. I know they're ranked 11th, but all the Bama fans and players that it's national championship or bust, well, that's still right in front of them. So you're going to get – Tennessee is going to – and it's a home game. Tennessee is going to get the very best that Alabama has to offer, and vice versa. I expect this game to – I expect this to live up to the billing. It's not going to be 52-49 like you guys said, but I do think it's a one-score win for either. Whoever wins, I don't think it's by more than a touchdown.
The Alabama fans in the chat room are like, man, I was prepared to come get some hate on Erik Ainge, but he has been so complimentary of Alabama, I cannot do it today. So there you go, Erik. It's your most popular visit with us ever.
Well, how about this? Bama sucks. Bring it in the text box.
Erik, thank you very much for the time. Always great talking with you.
All right, boys. See ya.
All right, take care. Erik Ainge with us at Erik Ainge 3 on Twitter is where you find him. He was on the Johnston RV Center.com hotline.
And also brought to you in part by friends at Hydra Live. Listen, all their great locations here and in Tuscaloosa. Hey, if you're partying Friday night before the Tennessee-Alabama game and you wake up, you don't feel great, Hydra Live's right there in Tuscaloosa is ready as well. Just about, I think it's about a block and a half, 2 blocks away from the government park there, Easy Park. Get a little bag of IV and then walk into the stadium and enjoy Bama and Tennessee.
Yeah, you can. HydraLiveTherapy.com. HydraLiveTherapy.com for a location near you.
All right. So as we wind down here, it is Tennessee-Alabama week. It is Ole Miss Auburn week. And then the biggest game in the country is Penn State, Ohio State. Another fun weekend coming up in college football. And it's a slate that doesn't offer, other than those 3 big games, doesn't offer a lot of potential upsets. Michigan at Michigan State. Not the usual fear for me of them going into East Lansing and catching them with their pants down. They won 19 straight Big Ten.
I mean, barely even a watchable game, probably. I think Michigan State gets run off the field by Michigan.
Sadly, I feel the same thing about Arizona State. Washington in Seattle shouldn't be a close game. UCF, Oklahoma. Yeah. UCF with limited at quarterback doesn't seem the same anymore.
The one thing about Washington, if you're Arizona State, you're praying for is you get a flat Washington team after such a big win last week, and you got to go to Seattle to play them. So you're in a tough environment, but you hope the crowd's a little bit flat because it's not Oregon. You know, Washington has been, reliving that Oregon game all year, and here you come and you got a chance. Now, they're huge underdogs. This would be a massive upset.
Texas, Houston on the road in Houston. The Longhorns back playing there. Just, 3-3 Houston, lucky to be 3-3. Doesn't have the same. Duke, Florida State, if Riley can't play, I just don't know if that's going to be a scary game for the highly ranked team. Utah and USC's lost some of its luster after the Notre Dame loss and Cam Rising not being able to play. Clemson, Miami's lost a little luster. Some really good, entertaining football games. I'm looking forward to it. But this could have been a marquee weekend, barring a few upsets along the way here. Fun weekend still, week 8 of college football. That's our show today. People are asking about TJ Miller. We didn't go longer with him because we've got a whole long extended, it felt like it was about a 45-minute interview. That'll be a last call. We will let you know when that drops on our platforms. But as always, set your alert both at Disrupt the Media YouTube and Next Round YouTube so you know when new programming or live show happens. And give us a thumbs up and subscribe when you're there as well. We're off to SEC Basketball Media Days. We're back with you live tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown.
Hey, it's time for another edition of the original Roundtable with Ian Fitzsimmons and the Lone Star State. Big night last night for the Dallas metro area. I'm Lance Taylor from the Next Round. It is on Disrupt the Media. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. And it's brought to you by a new sponsor, Manscaped. Manscaped.com. What did Kit Kat think about this coming in the mail?
I was wondering, man, because all of a sudden this package shows up and it's from you and it's Manscaped. I'm like, all right, that's a little creepy, LT. I mean, you're trying to send a message. You got a manicure. I mean, if you want her to look good, you need to look good. The T-shirt is hilarious. I got to admit, I'm not going to say it. You can, but it was one where I literally laughed out loud when I got a razor for your junk.
Well, hey, it's called the undercarriage, and
There you go.
hey, we expect our women to be clean and tight. They want the man in their lives to be clean and tight. Look, they've got a bunch of incredible products. Outside of that, I mean, you've got the beard, you've had it forever. You can trim that.
I do use it. Yeah. Yep.
So great products, Manscaped.com. Put in that promo code OGRT, as in the OG Roundtable, OGRT at checkout. They're going to hook you up at Manscaped.com. So let's start with what we saw last week. You were in Knoxville. I really thought going into that game, A&M was a better team. This A&M experiment, man, I don't know. When you look forward now at the games they've got left, this could be a 7-5 or 6-6. And the expectation, if I'm an A&M fan, Ian, I saw last year in year one, Sonny Dykes gets TCU not only the college football playoff, they win a game and they play for the national championship. We're giving you all this money. You got an extension on the original deal, and you can't even really battle to win an SEC championship.
He's in hot water now, LT. I don't know what the price of oil is right now. I'm assuming it's pretty high, but you know where I'm going with that? I mean, that buyout, they've got that in their couch cushions. And to hire the next staff, which would cost you about, I don't know, what, 15 to 20 million, they've got that in their glove compartment at Texas A&M. So he's in trouble. And I hate saying that. You know how much I hate the spies.
I know you do. I know you do.
You know, having my brother in, coaching with the Carolina Panthers right now, and he's been coaching now, my gosh, for close to almost 20 years, in the college and pro ranks. But I hate saying it because when you call for a head coach to be canned, it's not just the head coach. I mean, it's all of the assistants. It's the strength and conditioning guys. It's the equipment guys. It's behind the scenes. You have, administrative assistants, the analytics crew. You're talking about 40 to 50 families.
Well, let me stop you real quick, because your brother has been in this business for a long time. And I remember when you and I were doing the Roundtable way back in the day, 15 years or so ago.
He texted you.
Well, yeah, he did one time. Yeah, we'll get to that if you want. But he was on Bill Snyder's staff. Yeah. Maybe it was Ron Prince to Bill Snyder. Yeah. And he was coaching K-State. And since then, he's built a family. He has paid his dues. But when a coach gets let go, almost all of that staff is gone, as you said, and the coach gets the golden parachute. Jimbo Fisher has got 2 ranches. He'll be able to afford to keep those ranches up. He can do whatever the hell he wants for the rest of his life, his kids' life, and probably his grandkids' lives. But somebody like your brother Devin, they don't get anything guaranteed. It's like, go find a new job, relocate that family. I don't care if your son's 16 and the quarterback, starting quarterback of his varsity team. If you've got to go from Lawrence, Kansas to El Paso, that's just the way it is.
You're spot on. And also, LT, just to be perfectly clear, if he's on a 3-year contract and the assistant coaches and they get canned after year 2, you do get that 3rd year. I mean, you still get, that is built in, but that's it, man. But that's not, you're not talking about, for a special teams coach, you're not looking at 70 million, right? You're really
right. It's not generational money. Yeah. Your ass needs to be working the next fall.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, he's got 2 kids to put through college, and he ain't making a mill, right? He's the assistant teams coordinator for the Carolina Panthers under Chris Tabor. So it's a dog-eat-dog world, and they know what they're getting into. They're wearing milk-bone underwear, as Norman said years ago on Cheers. And, you try to make light a little bit, but every time you call for a head coach to get canned, you are also talking about 40 to 50 other families that are going to be looking for jobs. You were spot on, and I'm so glad you brought that up.
Well, no, look, and I think you look at it from a different perspective. What we do on a daily, a day-to-day situation, I don't have a brother in the business. So the only thing I think of, and I think 99% of the people out there, is Jimbo Fisher got 10 years, $75 million. I thought it was a mistake. I didn't think it was a great hire. I remember our man Paul Feinbaum said he's going to win a national championship day one. I know he had a national championship, but I've said it a million times with a generational player in Jameis.
Okay.
You've got all the resources. Real quick, let me finish. Finish this.
Yeah, you're on it though.
So I think he's been given plenty of time, and one of the reasons was because of the huge buyout. So, like, I don't necessarily have a problem with Jimbo losing his job because he's not going to be hurting. The way the coaching business is, if he wants another job, a head job, probably not close to what he's getting right now, but he can coach again, and he's got plenty of money. He has not earned the money they paid him right now, and he has not done what the expectation was.
No, and he's got the facilities and everything else to do it, LT. He's got all the resources. They haven't been able to do it. But I'm so glad that you brought up that 1 year with Jameis Winston at Florida State. Our color analyst, former Seattle Seahawks quarterback, Kelly Stauffer, brought this up after the game. We none of us could fly out. So we're all just kind of sitting around in his room watching, USC, your guys, get trucked by Notre Dame. We'll touch on that in a moment. I've got them this week against Utah. But he brought up, man, and it organically, just in conversation, what you just mentioned. He had the most talented roster in a weak conference at the time, and he had to win one playoff game with the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. Captured lightning in a bottle and cashed in for $75 million. You are 1,000,000% correct, and he has not been able to replicate that yet because he does. Look, at times does he have the most talented roster? No, but he's close. But he haven't been able to sniff the college football playoff. So, look, he's in trouble. There's no doubt about it, man, because he's not beating consistently the good to great teams in the Southeastern Conference. He's beating up on bad teams, either out of conference or the weaker ones in the SEC, and that just ain't going to cut it. Not with it. Now, living in Dallas, Texas, there are Aggie fans that are no longer just talking about this should be the end for Jimbo. They are screaming this should be the end for Jimbo.
It's the original roundtable, ESPN's Ian Fitzsimmons. I'm Lance Taylor from the Next Round. Make sure you like and subscribe right here on Disrupt the Media. It is always brought to you by Lance'sLock.com. Get that free play every day at Lance'sLock.com. Jump on board with us. 2-0 last night. I told you, big night in Dallas. We had the Cowboys. We had the Rangers. It's got to be Ranger Mania right now, right?
And LT, it's insane. And by the way, appreciate the tip on Dallas. You also gave me a little lean on the under. We had a little parlay there. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I got to pay for college for 2 kids. Every little bit helps. And speaking of kids, my oldest daughter, Rowan, actually asked for ALCS tickets. Now, I sent her to Texas OU. She gets Stars tickets. Those are comps. She doesn't know it, right? Mavericks tickets. Those are comps. She doesn't know it. But now she wants ALCS. I told her, if you can name me every starting infielder with proper pronunciation, because she ain't getting Young right at third, right? I mean, there's no way she's hitting that. Zero chance. Because I don't have a connection with the Rangers anymore. I don't cover them. I'm never there. So she looked at me like, I got no shot. I'm like, yeah, you're not going. Now, if you want to pay for them, you go right ahead. But Daddy is not paying for these tickets. But this town is insane right now. And as you know, Lance, anytime your team wins, I mean, from a monetary standpoint, and just, the economy in that market, it's massive. People are in a good mood. You go out and, to lunch more often. You go out to dinner more often. So right now, I mean, this place is it's Ranger Mania. I mean, it's to the point right now where, why that game on Monday was a 3:37 Central first pitch. Cowboys were on Monday Night Football. It was a brilliant move by Fox.
Yep. Makes a ton of sense. So game 3, going to be there in Dallas. The Rangers obviously have never won a World Series. They were a pitch away from winning a World Series back when you were covering them.
Twice.
Yeah, so, I mean, those were gut-wrenching losses.
Game 6.
So Cowboys have a bye now, and they host my Rams in 2 weeks. Bigger ticket. Is it not even close, game 3, Rangers or Cowboys-Rams?
Now, Cowboys are still the king, but back when they were going to the Rangers going to back-to-back World Series, man, you go to the Cowboy locker room because they stunk back then, right? I mean, they were, flirting around with 8-8 and whatnot. This is 2009 and 2010. I mean, they were bad. And so, or at least average, and the Rangers were going to back-to-back World Series. You might have 6 reporters in the Dallas Cowboys locker room back then at Valley Ranch. And over at the Rangers facility, Coach, I mean, it was people standing on stools like you were waiting to talk to Troy Aikman back in the day. I mean, it was insane, and it will be that way again right now. And they're a great group of guys. They're an awesome group of dudes. That's all they are. They're like that group with Michael Young and Derek Holland, who nicknamed the Dutch Oven. I mean, that group was just a fun group to be around, and they played for the guy in the stall next to him, right? That's how this group is. So, you had them yesterday. You've been riding them. I mean, they're unbeaten in the postseason. You've been cracking that whip like a thoroughbred of Kentucky Derby.
Hey, speaking of whips, and I know you're about to crack it for me. So you go from Knoxville to L.A., and the Coliseum for the Utah Utes, a program that you covered when you were in Salt Lake City, has been kryptonite. Now, the last time they were there, 2021, they win the game going away. But before that, it had been 1916, the last time they had won a game in the Coliseum. So Trojans usually play well. They played maybe the worst offensive game I have ever seen Lincoln Riley coach. Caleb Williams made mistakes he never makes. Their defense actually played winning football. If the Trojans play like that defensively and you can get the offense back to where it was, USC's got an opportunity to win every game on their schedule.
Yeah, but you know what, Lance? For some reason, Morgan Scalley, the defensive coordinator at Utah, and Kyle Whittingham, they've got their number. I mean, I had them in the Pac-12 title game, and they physically beat the ever-loving snot out of Caleb Williams and that USC team. And you mentioned the defense. I know you love numbers, so here comes the whip for you. I can't stand it, but I asked ESPN Stats and Info to dig this up just for you because I know you love your USC Trojans. USC opponents this year in the red zone have scored on 21 of 22 possessions, 14 touchdowns, 7 field goals. Now, think about this. You're going to go, what's Alex Grinch's fault, the defensive coordinator?
Well, I just got to say this real quick. Lance'sLock.com, I had my biggest NFL play to date on the Seattle Seahawks, and they're catching 3.5 against Cincinnati on the road. Yeah, and so they get in the not red zone. They get it first and goal 4 times in the second half, and they get 3 points out of that. So you got Utah 21 of 22 in the red zone?
No, not Utah, just USC opponents this year. USC opponents, 21 of 22. Think about that. Now you're going into Alex Grinch, and it's a defense. I have to read all this. Here comes the whip. You ready?
Yep.
I mean, you're about to become secretariat.
Watch.
Break out your belt like you were standing on a piano. Here we go. Alex Grinch, right? He was good for Mike Leach. He was great at Ohio State. Lincoln Riley money whips him, brings him over to Oklahoma. The problem right now, could it be offensive ego? And I love me some Lincoln Riley, man. I mean, I absolutely love him. But think about this. 99.6% of USC's offensive drives last an average of 5 minutes or less. Now, here's the biggest issue. Of 34-14 at half against Colorado, USC had 7 drives in the second half. They called 8 runs. Only 6 design runs, 2 were scrambles, and you're up 20, and you call 6 designed runs in the second half? Lance, that's unacceptable, man. Their average drive length, 3 minutes and 36 seconds. You're leaving your defense out there to die. I mean, so is it just Alex Grinch? Is it just missed tackles? No, it's not, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's also on the offensive side, leaving those dudes out there for an eternity.
Well, and I'll tell you, going into last week against Notre Dame, everything went the wrong way. But they were 5th nationally in sacks. This is USC's defense. They were 5th in tackles for loss, and they were 5th in forced fumbles. They didn't have a forced fumble. They had 1 tackle for loss, and they didn't have a sack. So it's like we can play good defense, but the pop stats we need, we can't get. And the offense, obviously, when you turn it over 5 times, along with what you're talking about, time of possession, big problem.
Woo.
So how do you see this game playing out?
Man, look, I'm not betting against Kyle Whittingham right now. I mean, he's so – look, when I had him against UCLA, another top 25 matchup, right, they had of their 44 on their listed 2D, the top 44 players, 18 came into that game either doubtful or out. He's been winning with a third-string quarterback, a backup quarterback. Brant Keithy, who's a first-round draft pick at tight end, is out. His backup is now out for the season as well, and they're still finding ways to win. Heck, man, Vaki, their all-world safety along with Cole Bishop, he went for, $157 on the ground and had 4 tackles. I mean, he played Iron Man football. And they're finding ways to win and win convincingly against
a
team like Cal. I can't figure it out, LT, but I'll tell you this much. I don't know what the number is in this game, but I wouldn't bet against them because they're finding ways to win.
Yeah, the last I saw at MyBookie.ag, by the way, use that promo code next round, secure that free to first deposit bonus at MyBookie.ag. I saw USC 6.5. But again, we're talking about a backup quarterback. And one of the reasons that number is so high, and look, and that was one of the all-time games in the regular season last year with Cam Rising going back and forth and battling Caleb Williams. But the big question is, because everybody was talking about Oregon, Washington, and where these teams are going to go and if they're going to rematch, to me, the fly in the ointment is Utah if they could get Cam Rising back. Because with that defense, that guy can ball. I just don't know if he's ever going to come back.
Well, he mentioned, about a week and a half ago, that wasn't just an ACL. He ripped everything to pieces. And I talked to Kyle Whittingham, as a matter of fact, earlier today before you and I hooked up. And I just asked him, how worn out are you? This is before we started rolling tape, about being posed the question about Brant Keithy and Cam Rising. He goes, how long have you known me? I went, okay, you're worn out. That's it. Okay, yeah. And I even mentioned as we started the interview, this will be the first interview you are not asked about Keithy or Cam Rising. And he just started crying, laughing, because I really appreciate it. I don't expect to see him this weekend, maybe next weekend against Oregon. But you got the pig farmer, Bryson Barnes, who's now bus driving, this team. Johnson has now been benched. It's Bryson Barnes back in, who had that remarkable Rose Bowl, against Ohio State. He was a walk-on, LT, and he grew up on a literally a pig farm raising 12,000 pigs. You imagine the smell?
Hey,
how much would it be? How much would it take you to get in the middle of that slop and go wallow in it with 12,000 pigs?
So you remember our buddy Travis Grappo that ran Fleming's?
Yeah.
He's got his own restaurant here. It's called Oak House, and they've got the best pork chop I've ever had. And I don't eat a lot of pork. Like if I go to a barbecue restaurant, I'll get some pulled pork. But typically, I'm just not going to sit down and get a pork chop. So I got it the other night, and somebody was telling me how bad pork is for you. And they said, one of the reasons is they'll – that's what they said. I don't know. They said, I still ate it. It was unbelievable. But they said one of the reasons they'll feed a pig anything. And have you asked Bryson what they feed their pigs?
I will.
Yeah.
My brothers, Devin and Kevin, they raised pigs and sold them and made a fortune, man. I mean, they would, and then you raise them, you show them, growing up on a farm in Louisiana, and they'd sell this damn pig for like $4,000. I'm sitting there going, laughing at them until I saw their bank accounts and I saw mine. Right. So I know what we fed. I know what we fed our pigs. My mom was all organic and whatnot and healthy, but I have no idea. I mean, pigs will eat humans.
Hey, you want that hog to look clean? Manscaped.com. Put in that promo code. It's going to be OGRT, as an original roundtable. OGRT, Manscaped.com. They got incredible products. Wife's going to love you for it. This is the original roundtable with ESPN's Ian Fitzsimmons on Lance Taylor from the next round. So I wanted to ask you this, because you're all over the place. And well, first, now that you're going to be in LA, you say you always pick dinner on Friday night. Where do you go in LA, man? There's a lot of places.
I pick the dinner in more college towns, or if I know somebody in the town, like Myron Metcalf, great NBA college basketball mind. He lives in Minneapolis. He told me about Manny's. He told me about the Lowry for breakfast, right? So sometimes you have to outsource. LA, man, you know how much I despise going to Los Angeles. It's too big for me. So I'm gonna have to outsource that bad boy. Or I go with Mark Kestisher, who also does NBA for us on ESPN Radio. He's done 1 million Laker games and 1 million Clipper games. This one, I'm probably going to defer to Kesty and let him pick this bad boy.
So I've only been on campus one time for a USC game, and I went and saw it. It was a good matchup. It was Herbert against Sam Darnold a few years ago.
Did you wear Kevlar?
It kisses bad parts. But if you stay where you need to be, you're okay. The one thing that jumped out to me is they have a few little bars around there, and they've got some restaurants. And I swear on my kids, every single TV, although USC was dominating, was on that game. I had to get an Uber and go down to the entertainment district, Staples Center, all around there to be able to watch Alabama LSU, because nobody would turn one of their TVs. And I'm like, you got 1,000 TVs on. With that, and just walking around the Coliseum before, their tailgate is not good. It's kind of an awful tailgate. So I wanted to ask you some hidden gem places that you go to around the country.
I was tailgating at Knoxville. I was just there, right? And by the way, I can't wait to watch Tennessee, Alabama. I know Alabama's a big favorite. I thought that thing would be about 5.5. What is it right now, LT? 8.5?
9.5.
Oh, it went up even more.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's back 9.5.
Tennessee. Good luck to you, man. That's not a good omen at all. I mean, at all.
That's a physical Tennessee team, though.
Yeah, look, I mean, Aaron Beasley is at linebacker. He's a different player than the dude we saw as a junior. I mean, he was our leading tackler last week against Texas A&M. He's a beast. Barron's coming up, as an edge rusher. He had a big game last week. Herring as well. I mean, you're right, LT. And I think their offensive line is better with Ollie Lane at left guard instead of Carrick, with Cooper Mays being back at center. So they got to run the football, though, man. Milton.
Well, they can.
Oh, can they ever? I mean, look what Wright did. Like, I know A&M was up without Regis and Nolan, which obviously hurt as two top interior defensive linemen go out. And Tennessee took advantage of it. So you're right, they can, but that's still a massive number. But to answer your question, tailgating, dude, put it this way: we're at this place called Calhoun's on the river. Now,
I've been there a bunch. Good place.
Okay, yeah, I mean. The barbecue's good, but it's more about the atmosphere.
Right. I've always thought the food at Calhoun's is overrated. I've got somebody in the other room right now that will battle me on that.
No,
but it's more about the river, seeing that Vol Navy, and just the atmosphere, especially when Tennessee's good, which they have been the last couple of years.
Lance, there was a boat out there that had to be worth probably $1 to $1.25, right? I mean, just a seagoing vessel. And let's just say, because we got in late, we were in there about 8:30, 9 o'clock. That's late for me. Let's just say that some local first-round draft picks were drafted to go onto said boat and provide some entertainment. And it was, bam, right there for all to see. I mean, it was like, oh, here we go. That's next level, Coach. Tailgating at Husky
Did anybody have the captain's hat on?
Oh, man, I did not see a captain's hat, but I might have saw Gilligan. All right, there you go, if that works for you. And Ginger and Marianne were definitely on board. I'll promise that also.
Oh, I believe it.
Dude, tailgating also at Husky Stadium is also next level. Another Ohio State, dude. I mean, you don't think it, but they go harder than the average Bear. They really do.
And here's the thing. Look, I mean, the SEC's been the best league forever up until this year. Now you can start to make arguments all around college football with the balance and the parity we've got. And look, I do believe more than likely, and I can't say this for fact, I have been to a game at Notre Dame. I've been to a Big 12 game. I've been to a Pac-12 game. So the SEC tailgates are great, but there's other places out there, and I think we believe we're the only place that can tailgate, and there are hidden gems all over the country.
Oh yeah, I mean, Michigan, I mean, it's got the golf course next to it, and it's Michigan, right?
Charlie Vitella does not want you saying that. He does not want you.
Charlie, I love you, man. You know that. If Charlie had a tailgate, right, I would go to that, and it would be fantastic. But I'm sorry, and he'll admit it. Their tailgate scene is JV. Ohio State, phenomenal. Penn State gets a little over the top, especially on the backside of Fraternity Row. I walked it one time, LT, and I was like, oh, my God, Magnum. I mean, they go harder than the average Bear. But, yeah, I would put, as an underrated gem, I would say Ohio State, and then I would also go tailgating at Husky Stadium. That is tremendous. Even when it's cold. I was out there doing a game in November and went out on the boats, and it was badass. Yeah, you would be right at home. You'd slide right in.
Original roundtable with Ian Fitzsimmons from ESPN. I'm Lance Taylor from the Next Round. It is on Disrupt the Media. Make sure you like and subscribe. Tell your friends. If you listened to us forever ago, we're back. We do this once a week on Disrupt the Media. So we did trash on the table. By the way, brought to you by Lance'sLock.com. Jump on board. Coming off a 2-0. 2 games tonight. We've got a total in college football. We've got a side. Jump on board at Lance'sLock.com where you get a free play every single day. One of the stories, a 7-foot adult film star. Here's the catch. It's a chick.
I figured that part.
Did you?
I did.
So as you break more into this,
you weren't going to bring that up if it was someone who needed to be Manscaped, right?
That's a good point. So I went and I did a little research, and after I read the story, she finally admits she's only 6'3". She frames these shots with smaller people where she looks a lot bigger. But if you go to her Instagram, I mean, she's pretty strong. I mean, I don't know how you feel on dating women that are 6'1" plus, but would you date a 6'3" chick?
Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't married, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if she's stronger than new rope, meaning in every category, why not?
I mean, the pictures I'm looking at right now, I mean, she's pretty strong. That would just be a little intimidating, I think. I mean, I'm 6'3", so, we're eye-to-eye splits on heels.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'd have to wear cowboy boots. I'm only 6'2", right? So just to look eye-to-eye with her, I'd have to put the boots on. But, man, are you worried about being, like, hog-tied or something, LT? I mean, you worried about having
look,
she puts the gag ball on you?
If you're comfortable, you should try everything once.
Hold on. Have you ever had a gag ball? Have you ever had a gag ball?
I've never had a gag ball.
Okay.
I've never had a gag ball. I've never been tied up.
You ever had handcuffs on?
Have I ever had handcuffs on?
Well, I have in the back of a cruiser when I tried.
Oh yeah. I've been in the back of a cruiser as well. But as far as an extracurricular, no. Okay. Now maybe I've thrown a handcuff out there. But this chick looks like she's got 1.6 million followers on Instagram. Marie Tamara. I just want you to check her out when you get a chance. And it's funny when you start looking at some of these profiles, you see people that follow them.
No.
Oh yeah. No, I don't know if you. No, these are just local people that I know. So I guarantee you know somebody.
Who?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I haven't. Let me look at the.
I'm not even on it. Right, hold on. I am on Instagram, but my daughters run it. I didn't even know I had an Instagram account until this year. Like I think they opened it for me, and they post like videos and pictures from the games that I go to. So I'm never even on
most of these are random. I'm not seeing anybody that's got a blue check. I would think though, if you have a blue check, you might not want to follow a 7-foot porn star, but
6'3". Right, yeah, right. But she bench presses 220.
Man, I've seen now a few people that I know that are on here. It's hilarious.
Are you serious?
Yeah, tall, natural model and athlete. And you know what? Hey, this is awesome. Her website at D1 Breeder. I didn't notice that till now. Great stuff.
Hey, you know what? You put her with, I don't know, any great athlete, and she's saying D1 Breeder. If she ever did date a really good athlete, like a Travis Kelce type, just to go with him, he's in the news with Taylor Swift.
Or Calvin Johnson, one of these dudes at 6'6", 6'7".
Look, when the zygote is formed, right, I want to represent that child as an agent.
Yeah.
Just go ahead because man, that's a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
In any sport.
It's Drago. Yeah, whatever they want to do.
It's Drago. It's Drago.
Hey, I guarantee you our girl, the 7-foot porn star, loves a little Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Put in that promo code, the original roundtable. So it's OGRT. Put in that promo code. They're going to hook you up at checkout. It is manscaped.com. We do this every week. Safe travels to LA. Let me know where you eat.
Hey, speaking of LA and Manscaped.
And if Cam Rising is playing, let me know.
I will text you. And Grant Keithy, one of the best tight ends in college football. We haven't seen him yet all year either. But as you turn me loose, didn't you, this is meant because you mentioned LA and then we're talking about Manscaped. Weren't you in a Russell Crowe movie when you were trying to be an actor?
I was.
And they made you shave your sideburns and you were like 200 yards away?
I was more than 200. Yeah. So they were doing this. It was right off of Sunset. It was LA Confidential. Great movie. Curtis Hanson directed this, 1997. So I was filming in May or June of 96. And yeah, they brought us to wardrobe and they dressed us up. It was, I don't want to say it was a period piece. It was in the 50s. So it was about corruption in the LA Police Department. And not only did they put us in these costumes, they shaved the sideburns and gave us hair from the 50s. And then we were so far off the beaten path. It's a scene where Kevin Spacey's character goes in and pulls out Simon Baker's character. And all you can see is the faraway premiere of a film. So you see ants, which were us, going in and out of the theater. And their close-up is here. Yeah, I mean, Hollywood, the magic of Hollywood. Some of the things that they go overboard.
How angry were you? Like, dude, you made me shave my sideburns and you can't.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get like a close-up. I don't need a line. You don't have to like throw me a credit, but let somebody see my face at least.
That is outstanding.
Okay, we'll do it again next week, man. Again, safe travels. Let me know all the good stuff, and looking forward to it.
I'll text you Saturday.
The original roundtable, Disrupt the Media. Like, subscribe, tell your friends.